Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 26 of the DayZ podcast, and without a doubt, our biggest one yet. Tonight's guest is the one, the only, Adam Francu, project lead and creator of Namalsk, map guru extraordinaire. How are you today, Adam?
Doing fine. Glad to be in here. Finally catch the podcast live. I usually watch it in offline because this is quite unusual time for me to sit next to PC.
We were all quite chuffed when Jakub told us that after I upload the video, he said pretty much he walks around or would walk around the office and nearly everyone in the office was listening to the DayZ podcast while they were working on their stuff. So I know Brim and I were quite chuffed with that. So was Val. Made us feel quite good.
Yep, you're doing good job on this.
Okay.
Keep it up.
Just got told you're a bit loud, so I'll just drop you down to 80%. If you could just say something now, Sumrek, and I'll ask people, how's that?
I'm here. I'm still here.
Beautiful.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you loud and clear. So, mate, what a week it has been for you with 1.09 dropping.
Oh yeah, it was alright. Like any stable release, to be honest. It was smoother than the other ones. That's to be sure. Yeah.
It felt that way, didn't it, Ben? From what I saw with the servers, most servers were back up and running. The community ones, that is, within hours of this update going live.
Yeah, in terms of issues with 109, there was some servers struggled, but I think that was more mod complications. For the most part, it went really smoothly. 24 hours after the update, pretty much every server was sorted, I think.
Yep. Because one of the first questions I had for you, Adam, that I thought of beforehand was, and this was a question I wrote before I even, before 1.09 got released, and that was along the lines of, we've been talking of late about we've got Shroud playing the game now, Summit playing the game now, XQC playing the game now. So a lot of eyes are on DayZ right now. So how much pressure is that creating for you guys in the office there?
Yeah, it's nice to see all the people looking at DayZ, playing DayZ. Like even the numbers, I've checked the numbers earlier today. There's like 29 concurrent peak yesterday. It's really nice to see so many people interested in DayZ and playing it. I really like it.
It is good, isn't it, Brim? Because for so long, we were down to, pretty much 3,000 concurrent viewers there at one stage. And now all of a sudden it's just skyrocketed again.
Yeah, I mean, looking at those Steam charts as we often do on the podcast, it did paint a bit of a crappy picture back in the day, like you say, when it went right down to 3,000 odd players. But like you say, having now guys like Shroud and Summit and XQC come back, and it does seem to have hit quite a nice little resurgence there, and I think it's getting more and more eyes on it, and it can only be a good thing.
Definitely. Ben, would you be able to bring up the DayZ charts at the moment and just share your screen so people can see that?
I'll give it a try, yeah.
Just DayZ Steam charts. But yeah, no, Sumrek, it's been absolutely amazing the last few weeks. Just the sheer volume of numbers coming this way into DayZ. With Summit calling the game an S-tier game now, which thankfully Inclement Listic was able to explain to us last week what that means. But yeah, it's just...
Yeah, I had to ask in the office too about it. I didn't understand it.
Oh, dear me. One other thing I did want to ask you, mate, is now Brian Hicks did a tweet the other week based on, sorry, I'm just getting the right screen back up, based on the work that the expansion mod team have been doing. And he said, a poll should be raised to grant the modders Confluence access. Is there ever any chance of that happening, or of DayZ looking at potentially subcontracting out some work to some of these extraordinary modders that we have to work remotely from wherever around the world?
So in terms of the documentation, that's really a question of priorities, because that has to be done by some developer, just needs to transfer some internal document onto public documentation. This isn't really a way that you would just give an access to someone to the internal sites and so on. That would need to be handled like through some contractor work or something, and we are not there for sure.
Yeah.
Like, our team is relatively small, but we work like in the office, everyone in the office, and that's the way we roll right now.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there we go. What happened then? Had a weird little glitch in the matrix.
Production issues there, mate.
Yeah. Brim is also asking, will building interiors ever be unlocked? Will we ever see big iron bars removed from doors and more space inside buildings? Now, I actually wanted to expand on this before you answer, Adam, because I remember back when I interviewed you all those years ago, and I asked you a question, and one of the buildings I specifically mentioned was the fire station, and you said, no, it'll never happen. And then I reckon within a year, you bloody unlocked the rest of the fire station. And I was sitting there thinking, did he troll me, or what happened here? Do you remember that?
Oh, I don't really. Well, I obviously do remember that we had the podcast. Or,
Yeah.
No, this was the Spotlight, right?
It was a spotlight interview,
Spotlight.
yes.
Yeah. So I do remember that, but I don't remember our discussion about fire station. But
I
it
do.
happened.
I do. I'll go back and I'll clip that and send it to you or call you out on it. Cancel Sumrack.
But yeah, in terms of like opening more, not really likely. Like, to be honest, we do have enough interior space in DayZ as it is right now, so
Yep.
we kind of struggle with actually filling it in, like having something interesting in there.
Because there just seems to be so many buildings that have areas that are built, but we just don't have access to.
I mean, yeah, you have like room or two in there usually, but that's like we don't really plan to extend that. Like that's this point for sure not.
Yep. There we go. We got Archie on camera now as well, mate. How you doing?
Pretty good, bro. Sorry it took so long. I was a little behind.
That's all right, mate. That's all right. What else did we have there in the questions? Might see some expansion. Foxy also asked, when you became project lead, what was your main end goal? Now, I think a lot of people, when they are looking at DayZ, and I've heard it said before, and I've even wondered it myself, Adam, with you being the creator of Namalsk, and your focus for Namalsk now being a more, well, you've split it now. You're going to have two versions of it, which is one is just the map, and then the other one, which is how you want Namalsk to be. A lot of people think that you're making the game how you want it.
I mean, like, in terms of the goal, I think it's pretty straightforward. We've outlined it in the blog post in the beginning of this year, and that's like the balancing, stability, and some help for modders and so on. So like these core things, like really fixing the broken stuff that we have in the game, because like the thing about the game is like there's so much stuff that perhaps needs some tweaking on configuration. Or some like just like bunch of steps to finish it to actually be working properly, so like that's the focus. That's our focus, to basically try to bring the game, because there's a lot of options. We just need to make sure that we use them, and we need to make sure that the stuff that is in the game, like from 6.3, actually does make sense. It's actually.
I personally love the direction it's going in, and I know a lot of the people who I talk to, because obviously, you surround yourself with people who are very similar to yourself. But most people are very happy with the direction it's going in. But yeah, just I think some people have wondered whether some of the changes were made, like, with you've mentioned a few times about heat being an issue. I think even Archie, you would be remembering some of the times he's discussed that. Heat packs and cooked meat and so on being in pants and that.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things. Again, like you have something in the game that kind of works, but on the other hand doesn't really. It's there. We have a temperature on items, but it does only something. It doesn't do. It isn't full package. So yeah, we're basically trying to get rid of finish off these things.
Yep.
Or finishing them, or just realistically asking, well, can we actually do it at this point? That's you need to ask that question too. Was this plan actually the best one? Is there some simple approach to it that would work without us spending weeks and weeks on it?
Yeah. So probably the last question I have before we get into the viewer questions, or if any of the other hosts have got any questions, is now a lot of people talk about 0.62 with rose-coloured glasses, in my opinion. Like it was the be-all and end-all of DayZ, and DayZ's never been the same. And I saw someone mention, or not someone, I've seen it quite a few times, even Brim, I reckon you've probably seen it as well, where they say, will you ever release the 0.62 files? We want 0.62 back. But the question I have for you, Adam, is if the game hadn't switched to the Infusion engine, where do you think DayZ would be now?
Do you mean without a switch to Infusion?
Yeah, without switching to Infusion.
Phew. I mean, it would look probably very similar to Arma 3 modding, I would say.
Yep.
Because that's like the Infusion switch. If you look at it closely, it started happening around 57, I think. There was bits and pieces in there. So yeah, if we wouldn't be switching anything to Infusion, yeah, it would there will be the game would probably the modding curve would probably be less steep, because there will be obviously a lot more shared with Arma. We still share a lot of technicalities with Arma, but it would definitely be more accessible even for Arma modders. It would have a lot of its own issues, performance issues, and so on. But yeah, it's a very hypothetical question,
But it's just one that I've thought of, because Brim, even you see people talking about that, don't you?
Yeah, I even get it on my own Twitch chat on occasion as well. Someone will pop in when I'm on my server doing some custom mapping or something, and someone will say, "Oh, I kind of miss how it was in 0.62," and I can't help but think you're looking backwards. Surely we need to look. Granted that it was a good time in the game and all, and everyone's got a positive look on it to a degree, but I think you've got to look to the future and learn from what it was to try and make it better in the future, rather than just say, "Oh, we want this specific, this specific thing back."
Yeah, I think that there was certainly good intention in there to basically revamp a lot of stuff to make it better, running better and so on. There was also the goal of getting into consoles, which also required some work on the rendering side and so on. So it was decided, and obviously when you look at Arma, it's a code base that's 15, 20 years old, and there's just a lot of stuff, right? So DayZ was running on it for a long time. Even 6.2 had still a lot of parts of Arma, like the player control was Arma, even though it was kind of modified already. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that came, automatically. You just had it in there, it's it was there for you to use it. So obviously the switch to the new engine, or like parts of the new engine, and that basically meant that we had to rewrite a lot of stuff from ground up to try to make it smoother, better, So it was certainly a rocky path. It's like
Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs.
I'm really, it's like when I look at it, like when I was looking at it like 2017, 2018, it was like, oof, yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us, Like when I started to realizing, like it was like from point of view, like I was still an observer, I was working mostly on the web, but it was still like, yeah, there will be a lot of work, But yeah, like I think when I am looking at the game right now, it's just like it went really well after all,
I'm just reading some of the
Yeah,
comments
here.
in chat. And like Gobbo saying, I still miss bows to crossbow like everyone, but saying it was better before is just meh. The one says, as Eugene described it, Enforce is light years ahead of Legacy DayZ. Gobbo again says, I can run up a hill again now. It's just, yeah, the game has come so far, Archie, from what it was. I do wonder how much of it was, there was a pretty decent thread. And Sumrak, after Archie's had a chat, I'd be interested in your opinion on it. But one of the things I think a lot of people, when they're looking back, Archie, is that they miss the old DayZ of running through the forest, sort of like what Smoke has done with his Day 1 service, with the no base building, and just pretty much you have what you could carry and whatever you could stash in a tent in the forest.
Yeah, I really like the idea. I mean, this is what DayZ is about. Like from day one, when Dean released it, it's what you made out of it. So it's in the game, even in the vanilla, depending on your playstyle. But it's also the modding part. It's like there's so much stuff that you can do, and so much options how we can customize it, so it fits variety of playstyles, variety of people. You have the servers, you have like these no base building servers, which recently quite exploded. It's interesting, but yeah, it's just really cool that you can customize the game to your liking, and everyone will find something in there.
Archie, just do a sound check again for us.
My mic working now?
Yes, it is, buddy. Yes, it is.
There we go. Yeah, sorry about that. No, I was saying I went back about a year ago and played 6.2 because I thought I missed 6.2, but what I missed was that nostalgia. You know what I mean? That like vibe that I used to get when I first played DayZ. And if you really, really think you missed 6.2 that bad and you can somehow get your hands on the files, you'll be over it in about 5 minutes. Like I was playing it with a buddy and we weren't running out of electro, and I ran over the railroad tracks and somehow broke my leg, and remembered immediately how I had to crawl to a bush and make a splint. It didn't take me long to get off of 6.2. Like we just wanted to shoot the bows and stuff again, but it was, and the sounds, the ambient sounds and stuff, it like triggers that nostalgia from the old days, and the way the zombie sounded and stuff. But as far as like the mechanics and how broken the bones and stuff were, no pun intended, yeah, it's a completely different game. I love it the way it is, but I think people need to, I think they're just missing the vibes they used to get. They don't actually miss 6.2. There's no way 6.2 is better than what we've got now.
Now, yeah, I just want to, sorry, Ben.
I was going to say, I just echo what Archie said. Funny enough, I was watching somebody today play 062, and I mentioned like all the people that are asking for it to come back and for an old build of it. I gave them like a week. I reckon they'd have like a week on it before they'd miss everything that's now available in the new build.
Yeah.
So yeah, seeing that gameplay today just reminded me how far we've come.
As soon as they figure out they can't jump over walls or lean, they're they're going to be like,
yes. Vaulting was massive for me. It was frustrating not to have it, but once it came in, it's just opened up the game to so much. Maybe some unintended things, hey Adam, where people are jumping through windows to ambush people who've got the high ground inside a building, but nonetheless, it's made the game more exciting.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just want to get the experience, you know, the unknowns of the game. Like I would want to really experience DayZ mode again, you know. I would want to get lost on churnars and so on, but I just, you know, it's like
I'd love
you
to
can
relive
do
the
it
first
only
2
once.
years. I'd love to relive my first 2 years on DayZ all over
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't. It's
I still do remember like walking through the whole Chernaru, scrolling through villages, you know, shooting into the windows of the bears in the hospital, trying to get the blood bags so I regain the blood. Yeah. Yeah. Those were the early times of DayZ mode.
Now, Brim, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask?
No, I think, to be fair, I think everybody else, both that have already asked questions in the Discord and in the chat, and you guys are going to be far more suited for asking the real technical questions. My only question was literally the one about the opening up interiors of buildings. So I'm happy either which way.
What about you, Archie?
Yeah, I do actually. So on my guide videos, this isn't a shameless plug. In the comment sections, people are always complaining about being able to find food. Like I've made guide after guide, step-by-step process of how to find food. And I think the number one reason that casuals decide they don't want to play the game, because it's a pretty steep learning curve, is that they can't find food. So basically, I have a question. Is there any way, or have you guys thought about making the small stones spawn on the beach? Because if they could find the small stones easier, because I've done a few test runs. I've went on the railroad tracks. I'll find one, after about a click, I might find another one. But by that time, casual players are starving. They don't know the hiking trails as well as veteran players do, stuff like that.
You're actually
If-
touching on a topic that's been quite big this week on
Yeah.
Twitter there, Archie. Yeah. A lot
If
of people talking about it. Like the Running Man did a big tweet about it. I was watching Mr. Blackout play today, and he died like 3 or 4 times because he just, he's only just come back to the game, but he didn't
Right.
understand a lot of the new mechanics. And I was trying to explain it to him in chat. And I'm interested in your feedback on this, Adam. But pretty much the comment he made was, "Wow, DayZ is so much better, but this stone thing is stupid." And I even did a Twitter poll on it.
If they would just, I mean, I'm not a developer, but as a player with a whole lot of hours and who makes guides, I think if people could get stone knives, then they have no excuse, because then they could go fishing, immediately. They could process the fish. They could make a fire, which you can make a fire with your bare hands, but you can't cut the bark. So if they had the stone knives, they could they could catch the fish, cut the fish into fillets, cook the fish, or they could go into a house with the stove and cook the fish. But fishing is the meta, in my opinion. A couple fish will fill you all the way up.
Oh,
A couple
yeah.
fish fillets. So if and you got mackerel on the beach right there, and a lot of the creeks can't be fished in. I don't know if that's a bug or what's going on, but the ponds can. So I just think if there was a way that small stones could spawn on the beach where those like large boulders are on the beach and stuff like that, just like in the old days, you had to search for them, but they could still be as rare. But something you guys could look into, from a fan to the lead developer.
Yeah, I think generally the spawner of the items, like the stones, even the fruits, it just doesn't work the way it should be right now, and we know about it. With 109 in particular, things went probably worse than before from the data that we're looking at. So it's quite hot topic right now, and we are discussing the options that we have. I'm certainly not in our power to do much with current 109 build in terms of like the functionality of the stone spawning. But yeah, I will be looking into economy again, trying to figure out how to make it somewhat more feasible on the coast.
See,
I think the economy is fine, honestly. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Boydie.
no.
I think the loot economy is pretty. I know it's hard to find stuff, but honestly, if they just had a way that they could get an edged item so that they could process the fish, then they could just fish. And I think every single time you go on any of the DayZ Facebook posts, Twitter posts, YouTube posts, it's always people lamenting in the comments about not being able to find food. And if they just had access to a knife early game that they would still have to craft, then I think a lot of that would satiate those complaints.
Yeah, I agree. Like I agree. Definitely the stone spawning doesn't work the way we would like to at the moment. Though that's obviously not something that we will be able to tackle for 109 anyway.
Right.
There was like various of ideas that we had, like for general, like the solving the issue of like people struggling in the like the fresh spawn areas. We've been thinking about perhaps adding some new types of food and so on too. So it would be like some low nutrition but somewhat present on the coast constantly. So like somewhat filling it up with the fruits and so on. But yeah, it's like it's something that we are discussing actively right now, and
Yep.
you'll have to.
You guys have a lot on your plate, and whatever you do, I'm going to be happy with. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Because it's definitely an improvement, Adam, the way stones are now. Like someone said it before in chat there, it was very immersion breaking, just standing on the beach, looking at the ground and spamming search until you eventually found that stone. Or walking up to an apple tree. You know, nearly every man and his dog did the apple glitch. And just spamming the tree until you had enough apples and going. I like the way it is now. I know some people don't because it's a bit RNG. But Ben, well, what's been the feedback on your server, mate, about the changes, or hasn't it really affected you because you're a modded server?
It's not affected me so much. I'll be straight. My server's PvP orientated, so in terms of finding food and stuff like that, it's not very difficult. So we focus more on the PvP. But even somebody in my chat's just mentioned about suggested bringing back the old way of searching for the stones and everything, and then immediately after somebody said no because it's open to abuse and it makes it too easy.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, everybody abused that.
Yep. I'm pretty sure there was even a way to spam searching for stones, wasn't there?
Yep. You didn't even have to move. Yeah.
There was a little glitch that basically guaranteed you'd end up with a backpack full of apples or stones within 2 minutes. It was easy.
It's another reason people don't really want 6.2 back. It was all good.
Yeah, it's all these little things that they forget about.
Yeah.
Those were the old actions, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think probably... Sorry?
The problem with the fruits, the stones and so on, it's that we can't really afford spawning too much stuff on the server in general, so we are like with the system we're trying to find some compromise, you know, having stuff spawned in there, but you know, in reasonable numbers, and but it doesn't work well usually.
I've got it. Take wrenches out, and for every wrench, put a small stone on the beach.
But you can open cans with it.
You can with a stone knife too.
But you derailed my train of thought then, Archie. I had something I was going to elaborate on.
Apologies.
But no, I remember now. So probably the main thing, like the apples and the fruit, I personally don't think they really need to change much. It's kind of sucky, you know, you've got to spend a bit of time in town, but I play hardcore servers predominantly, so it's no change for me. I learnt that dynamic spawn system very quickly, and I would just go through a town, loot it all up, and then go around and check all the fruit trees and take what fruit had spawned and then be able to move on to the next town. But with the stones, the issue people have is that usually for the stones, you're looking for them when you're running between towns and you might be following a trail or the train tracks or something like that. And what you've got to keep on doing is doubling back and, you know, running back 200, 300, 400 meters. So the issue just seems to be, is there a way that they can be, the chance of them spawning in front of you could be increased, or I don't know if that's even possible, Adam.
Yeah, you know, this is something to experiment with, really.
Yep.
Trying to see if the system can be made better, more usable for this particular case.
Solution: more pickaxes. I like that in chat. Pickaxes and sledgehammers.
Yeah, it's one of the things that we are also looking at, and that's I think even in the build right now, not in 109, is that there will be like more options of like skinning the dead animals. So like there will be a lot more tools available to skin the animals.
Like new tools or just new functionalities to old ones?
Like exactly like using the present tools for the skinning, so it won't be just knives.
Now, Mac just said something in there as well, and I did see a tweet about this as well. What about just making it so that if you find a can, you can look at the ground and break it open, but lose, say, over 50% of the contents?
You know, it's certainly possible. I mean, if we allow opening it with sledgehammer, like
Yeah,
You can open it with a wrench.
yeah. But yeah, I think that'd be I think that'd be a perfectly legitimate for the vanilla ones, because, like I said, I was watching Mr. Blackout, and he found like 4 cans of food, but he just couldn't find that second stone. He found 1 stone, but he couldn't find a second one, and he died with 4 cans of food on him, the poor bugger, that he just couldn't open. Now, like in reality, and yes, I know it's only a game, but you'd be smashing that sucker against the corner of a house, against a fence paling, against your forehead if you thought it was going to open up to give you some food when you're starving. So that could be a possible fix for you as well, mate. The old slam it on the ground and lose 75% of the contents, but it's enough to keep you going until, you know, I know I'd be licking all that food off the ground no matter how much spilled out, but that's just me. I'm a grot.
That's a good picture.
I think like the biggest problem in this is that we are essentially still fighting the problems of like areas that are very frequently visited by players, and the availability, the overall availability of the items in there is really low. So
Yeah,
I would say that's the problem from the start, pretty much. You know, it's just like there are some areas, parts of the map which are relatively tiny, and it only takes like 2 to 3 people, you know, and that area is like simply unusable. So it's definitely looking at the CE setup and figuring out how can we actually make sure that the stuff is respawning faster in there, and it's the new people, they will just join the game and they will find something, at least something that will help them to survive.
Snakewake in chat has just
village,
said, let everyone spawn with 1 stone and you have to make a friend to make 1 knife. Yeah, they're not going to make friends. They're just going to run up and knock that sucker out and steal their stone and run off with it.
Yeah, I could make a friend and split my pair, but that's not going to happen either, you know?
I guess people killing the other fresh spawns now because of the apples and pears.
Yeah. Now, Ben, what about you, mate? Have you got any questions before we go on to the viewer questions?
Yeah, I've got one. Without getting yourself in any trouble, Adam, tell us what's the most favourite thing you like working on in your job, and what's the worst thing you like you work on in your job?
I think it's generally like when we play in the office, DayZ. That's like really the fun times, you know. Or I also enjoy a lot like just looking around, like looking on the streams, looking at people trying something new that we add into the game. That's the fun part for sure. And obviously the probably most annoying thing is obviously that we are catching up on a lot of past issues with the game, and it's like you want to work on something cool, you know, but in the end you realize that we need to fix that and that first, you know. So it's always like that obviously like you will help the game, so the game will be better and so on, you will fix some stuff, but on the other hand it's just like there's still something, you know, in the game. It's just constantly, even though this year was quite good in terms of the stuff, like I would say the inventory is probably still like the biggest like generator of issues in the game. And we've been successful in tackling a lot of the issues, but there is still some remaining. So that's kind of the annoying part is that some stuff in the game is so complicated that it's really hard to catch all the edge cases that are creating all sorts of issues in the game, like be it just like desyncs or general crashes. So, yeah, we are still
Well-
catching up on this part.
Given the state of this year, 2020, and everything that's happened,
Yeah.
I think you've achieved a hell of a lot this year. I was surprised you managed to push out the updates that you.
Because
that
how many
the teams
updates did you
managed.
promise again? Was it 4 for the year?
Yeah, so it was announced in the release blog post for 109 that there will be 4 updates this year, the last one being the 110.
You guys planning on bringing any of the old survival mechanics back, like tanning and leatherworking and dyeing clothes and snare traps and fish traps and such, or is that a surprise? A lot of people ask me that on the regular.
You know, like we certainly have a lot of stuff in the backlog, but yeah, it's about balancing stuff, what we pick from there and do it. Yeah, I can't really give you an update on this.
Right.
We don't usually talk about this, you know.
No, we're not talking about any future plans because, like I mentioned before the stream started, the 2015 roadmap is still a nightmare that people love to bring up and
True.
say what they promised. And if Adam was to say something and then it's not able to be achieved, you just know the haters are going to be out there piling on, going, "Oh, but he said this. Oh, yeah, but he blah, 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 blah."
We got to defend Adam because he's one of us. He's from the community, you know.
Yes, he's a modder.
Amen. Amen.
Okay, so now to viewer questions. We are starting with Don Sibley, who had a few questions. Now I don't know, Adam, you've actually read through these, mate. So if you want to actually look at them on your screen, and you can say what you can answer and what you can't answer, rather than me reading out questions that are ones that you can't really talk about too much.
You know, I can scroll through it and yeah, I can start answering. There's a lot of stuff, so you may need to make it faster somewhat. Or I don't know how long are we planning the podcast?
Oof. Oof.
As long as you want, my friend. It's only
Yeah, that's a very special
12:47
occasion.
a.m. in the morning for me. I mean, we'll skip through it. We'll go through the main ones. So we can't really talk about stuff for in the future. What limitations are you faced with in regards to opening up mods and or more file access for console server owners?
Yeah,
So
I
not so
don't
much
think
about
I
the
can
limitations
go
for
into-
dealing with the companies, but the actual technical limitations.
No, I don't think I can go into extra detail in here regarding like modding on consoles, but yeah, it's generally like consoles tends to be more tricky in like everything
Mhm.
basically. So yeah, we need to keep in mind basically like what do we allow people to do in there.
Yeah.
The custom stuff. So yeah, like the I guess the init.c file from the mission is like the really hot topic between the console server
Mhm.
owners. We know it very well. We know what some of the servers are using to make their servers unique in the sea, just spawning like walls and so on.
Yep.
So yeah, we're certainly keen on figuring out what to do with this with allowing the access to init.c file. We'll see like this. Nothing is set in stone, but yeah, it requires a lot more work on our side to see whether it's possible or not.
He also asks, so we can't really talk about next-gen consoles. Is crossplay ever going to be possible between consoles and PC?
Oh, highly unlikely.
Yep.
Like definitely not in between PC and consoles, and most likely not. Like highly unlikely even in between the consoles itself.
Every time I click off, it scrolls all the way back down to the bottom for me. He also wants to know, do you want to use his likeness for a character in game? I think make a Don Sibley zombie.
There's quite a long waiting line of deaths to get into the game.
Just take the Trevor Phillips model from GTA and respin
Yes,
it. Bam.
yes, yes.
And can we shave the beard on and off so there's two Don Sibleys?
And just so you know, folks, Sumrak can't talk about the next gen stuff. That's just outside of his scope. That's stuff for Bohemia and Sony and Microsoft and them to talk about. Sumrak's just the guy working on the game itself. If you wanted answers like that, you'd probably need to get Sumrak's boss, the head of Bohemia Interactive, wouldn't you, mate? Sumrak?
Yes.
No comment.
No comment.
Read between the lines.
Yeah. Okay. Do you ever plan on introducing PBR support for the engine if that's even possible? Could someone explain to me what PBR support is?
Physical base rendering. And this kind of standard these days, but yeah, we like that. It's important to distinguish in between the engine that we are running and the Enfusion, right? So DayZ is not running on pure Enfusion. There's still a lot of parts, a lot of Arma parts in there. So no, we don't. Like for DayZ, no.
Yep.
Enfusion, that's a different story. That's
Jacob Mango saying in chat, PBR is standard. No wonder it isn't in DayZ.
Sorry.
He's been. They're cheeky lads in here, Adam. They're very, very cheeky boys. DayZ, just have Adam at knife point right now. Be careful, chat. Are we expecting further graphic overhauls in the future while you lead the team, such as lighting, for example? And if not, what would you ideally like to see introduced or changed for the game to look better and more authentic, realistic? I know that's talking about future, but if there's anything you can say on that.
yes. I mean, generally, yes. I would want to have the game looking more authentic, realistic. There is a lot of work that we could possibly do on the lighting side of things, but yeah, it's taking a lot of time. And problem is that you're like at certain point of the project is that like, yeah, you can do something, but the other changes are probably requiring to rework also some other stuff, maybe even the assets and so on. So yeah, it's like for some stuff it's quite too late, to be honest.
Camino in chat is just saying ray tracing.
Yeah, sure.
But I actually love the lighting. Like I remember back when I interviewed Brian Hicks, and we lit a fire or a flare or something like that, and he said, "Oh, this lighting needs work." I think it's come so far now. Yeah, it does still glitch a bit through walls and that, but like I was streaming the other day and I actually lit a torch, like a handmade torch, and the person I was with was like, "Why are you lighting a torch?" And I was like, "Because it just looks so fucking beautiful."
Oh, it does.
The lighting that it gives off now is just phenomenal compared to, you know, the buggy, glitchy things they were back in the good old days of 0.62.
I think like what I like is that like we've tried something again very recently in 109. You can see like it's like we tried to spice it up a bit and we've updated a bunch of textures in there. So perhaps we'll do something more like that in the future. I don't know how to say like, but it was an experiment. Basically like looking, okay, what do we use commonly in the game and what can we do with it to make it better? I think it ended up well. Like the houses look better, and we've used the opportunity to spice it up with adding more variants to the houses. So
Yeah,
that's
great.
You've spiced up Dancer Jesus's life as well.
And it's like, yeah, well, the veterans are probably like, yeah, let's run to the greenhouse, it's like, no, it's yellow now. What the fuck?
Yeah, all the callouts had to be changed. That was kind of fun. The interiors actually kind of like tell a story now too. The houses feel more
Yes.
lived in, you know.
Yeah, so it's definitely like we've learned some lessons over the years, so the interiors look different now. I kind of enjoyed like the work that we did for Livonia too, when we were like taking the ruined abandoned buildings from Arma and adding interior stuff in there. That was fun too. So yeah, it's like we are still trying to like at these like smaller things to improve the game, or like maybe if we have some idea with the lighting config, we try to, but that's like the lighting config is probably like the biggest, like like the if you change it, you see the results in the game, and it's like I usually there's like 2/3 of the game I like, the 1/3 is like like would want to be looking better, but it's like how how with the stuff that we have right now, it's not always that simple.
Well, I still think the lighting is bloody fantastic, mate. It is just, really adds to the game. Now, what else have we got? Stop putting questions in, people. Every time someone makes a comment, it scrolls right down to the bottom of the chat for me.
If people will be adding comments in there, we'll probably never finish,
Okay. Again, we can't really talk about it, but I'm gonna take a punt, and I'm gonna answer this one for Adam. Yes, we can expect further map changes, because look at just what they've done just recently. They've just given us all these new buildings to look at. And Adam, you're a map maker at heart, so I'd be very surprised if there wasn't more changes to the maps coming in the future.
There are some changes. Just keep in mind that things are slowing down because of me involved in other stuff too. So
Yep.
Still trying to push for some things, but it's harder.
Wait,
And
what?
to be honest, like it's like in the end, like you want to like also somewhat close up the development, right? So I mean, like the progress on the map, it's just like constantly changing it, It's like people are building bases on the map, right? So
actually,
we changed the buildings, like we literally like moved full interior around, and well,
I've just
people
thought of something then.
People got barrels stuck in the interior. Like
Helkiana's just posted a comment. Yeah, a 308 will penetrate a wall easily. Has Wobo caused you guys any dramas with his videos showing penetration thanks to a certain mod by Daone? Is the penetration working as intended, or has he highlighted some issues that you guys are going to be addressing?
I think he rather highlighted some issues, yeah.
Yep.
Again, like our assets in the game have really varied history, There are some assets which are 10 years old, literally, right? So
yeah.
So there's obviously like bits and pieces that are like, okay, well, this doesn't really make much sense, Like, why is this wooden door impenetrable,
So basically, Wobo's just made you a lot more work, and he's no longer on the Christmas card list.
Yeah, you can use it to your advantage,
Yes. Yes, if you know, which don't get into a gunfight against Wobo. He knows every single wall that a 22 will shoot through, and you'll be sitting there going,
I mean,
hacks. He's a hacker.
They'll change the values next patch anyway. They
Somebody in my chat's just said, please leave it alone. I've been wall banging folk for a long time.
Well, they teach you in the military that cover is a myth, because bullets penetrate pretty much everything. So when I play games where you can actually wall bang people, I love it. And that's the best part of DayZ, is when some guy's in a house hiding with the door shut, talking smack, and you shoot him through the wall. There's nothing like it.
Yep, you can definitely use it to your advantage.
What else have we got here? Lad wants to know if you also love him.
Of course.
Oh. Asmund, these are questions I've been really looking forward to. Asmondian, for those who don't know, if someone could please find a link to Asmondian on Twitter. If you don't follow Asmondian, if you don't have Twitter, you need to get Twitter just to follow not only the DayZ podcast and Wiidevil and Archie and Brim and Sumrak, but you need to follow Asmondian. He has some of the best guides to DayZ if you ever have any questions. He says, amazing stuff, guys. Adam is usually a guy who doesn't avoid speaking about any subject in his streams, so it's going to be extremely interesting to hear what he has to say. Questions. How much room is there currently in the dev team for the development of new ideas? I mean, given the extension development and the long and good life of the game, is it fair to say that it is time to consolidate and polish the core vision, or is there still room for completely new features in the future? Anything in mind? And I loved that question from him, but it's pretty much the standard I expected from Asmondian. He's just next level intelligent, that guy.
No, like I said earlier in the stream, I think like the core focus is on the consolidating and polishing the core vision and just making sure that the stuff that's already in the game actually makes somewhat sense, you know? It's not there just because it's there. So that's a primary goal for us for sure. But there is some new stuff, you know, like we've added some new weapons that were not in the game before. We've added some new stuff like the flagpole, for example, recently.
Yes.
That was like not in the game before, and it's like it helped the base building mechanics a lot. So again, it's like new thing, but it's also helping the core game. You know, it's like and like solving some of the long-standing issues with management of your bases.
I was actually really happy the expansion mod adopted the vanilla flagpole for their mod as well, which I thought was a really, really good thing of them to do.
I definitely like the fact that it's like it works for the base, you know, it keeps the base alive, but you can also put your flag in there and just like mark your territory, you know, it's just this is ours.
He also asked 4 things that are very noticeable during any DayZ gameplay, and I would like to know if there are any plans for them. The no on-screen bleeding representation without HUD. Bleeding is almost imperceptible in first person when playing without HUD, and forces you to have to tab every time. Yes or no?
Yes, definitely high on our list.
Weapon collision?
Doing more stuff with the post-process effects. Bleeding and shock is something definitely high on the list.
Yep. What about weapon collision? I know that's been a point of contention for people in the past with the way I know on some servers they've changed it now so that infected don't cause the barrels to have to raise. But I understand the purpose of it so people can't wall bang through a wall by sticking their guns through, but it's still, I imagine that's an area you guys are still polishing as well.
Yeah, it's definitely more complicated topic.
Yep.
There's certainly some fixes. I think Wobo recently pointed out that the sort of guns are not having proper length. But yeah, it's like we are also like looking into like the numbers in there, or even certain objects. Like for 108 we looked at the base building objects, making sure that you can actually shoot someone from the watchtower, right?
Yep.
Because that wasn't possible before.
Because Brim, I
Like
don't know
once
if you watched...
aimed down like just a bit, like your weapon immediately raised already. So yeah, like I wouldn't expect anything major in here, but like mostly bug fixes.
Yep. Because Brim, I don't know if you watched Wobo's 30 tips for 1.09, but I found it interesting that if you add an extension to weapons, the game actually compensates for that and means you need to be further away. Like if you had a compensator to the Mosin or a bayonet or something like that. But if you saw off the IZH shotgun or the Mosin and that, the game still thinks they're a long weapon.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I've liked for a long time is the weapon collision. I think having that sort of situation where you're a bit too close to a wall, it makes sense that, you know, you're not going to be able to pass the solid metal barrel of an M16 through a solid brick wall. You know, it's just not physically something that works. So having that feature in is good, but like you say, having it where you saw it off and it's still having that same collision, you know, is something I think that needs to be worked on. But personally, as much as weapon collision has caused my untimely death on numerous occasions, it's definitely a feature that I quite like.
The main one I think is an issue, Ben, is infected.
What, causing your weapon to go up?
Yeah.
Yeah,
When
no,
you
I've
get
been
yourself
in a
cornered.
few. Yeah, I've been in a few situations where you should definitely have been able to get out of it, and you haven't, and you wind up back at the coast.
Yeah.
There's a few. I mean, there's other situations as well. Again, like with buildings where your weapon goes up when there's no reason it shouldn't. But all that said, I'd still rather have the system that's in now. I remember back in 062 and was reminded of it today, where you could pretty much stick your weapon straight through a wall and it was hanging out the other side. You had like a big shield between you and just the gun sticking through. So yeah, I'd rather have it how it is now. There's some improvement needed.
The good old campers in the camo building hiding under the floor, sticking their barrel through and shooting you as you came in to loot it.
Oh yeah, them days. Yeah, remember them little guys crawling in next to the steps. Yeah,
Mm-hmm,
Or laying in wrecked cars. That was the best. They just lay in a wrecked car and stick their LAR barrel right out the door. I just annoy the shit out of me.
Yeah, it's like Alkiana mentions. Nice thing in here in the chat is that, yeah, well, not every asset is obviously prepared for it, and like none of little DayZ assets were actually made with like any like actual dimensions, right? The thing I mentioned, well, yeah, we do have a lot of assets that are very old, and some of the assets didn't even have the interior before. So obviously for this thing to work really properly, you need the dimensions to be correct, right? You need to have the collisions correct everywhere. So yeah, you are essentially with the weapon collisions, in many cases you are bumping. It's not the mechanic that's broken, but it's the bugs in the environment, right? Like something doesn't fit, or this window frame happens to be like few tens of centimeters higher than normally it is, right? So then it should be for the mechanic. So like obviously the best approach is like, well, from the beginning you say that, well, you will have a weapon collision mechanic and you will have the assets done this way, right? So the windows are in this height, the doors like are this, and so on. So yeah, obviously people will bump into these issues in the game, but yeah, it's not the mechanic itself, it's the it's the other part of the game.
It's the models and such. But just to extend on that question, then, so I kind of predicted when just before vaulting was introduced that there'd be issues with Windows, and then like obviously you've seen some videos and such going around the internet and everything else where there's people going through Windows, which some you should definitely be able to go through, but other ones which have clearly got what is supposed to be a physical barrier.
Can you mute him? Please don't fix that, please.
Well, I just wait. I never said fix it. All I'm going to ask is if there's any more work planned on the Windows at the moment.
It should make a crashing sound. You're going through glass and a wooden frame in some of those cases. I don't even know if that's possible.
I realize
the general approach is for this particular issue is to fix them. We don't usually allow people crawling through the windows.
I mean, I've seen some great videos where people have done some ninja leaps through windows. And
I actually shared a while back one of Rab Plays. I think it was with Adam, and Adam said no, that is not intended, because it had been a topic of contention, and not just. I know why Archie's saying no, because Archie's a base raider extraordinaire. He's one of these guys who knows the weakness of almost every single building that people build a base in. And
kind of why I was asking.
Yeah, and that's for people who don't know, for people who just look at a window and go, well, it's a window, they can't get through that. Well, yes, they can. And there was a big argument on a server I was involved with a while back of people getting raided like that. And some people were adamant, no. And that's why I actually reached out to Adam, and Adam said, no, that's not an intended feature of the game. And I was like, oh, okay.
I mean, on my server, until DayZ do something with it, we just tell everybody block your windows over.
Yeah.
Because if it's a mechanic that's possible for the player to do at the moment, and within reason, then we allow it.
It makes it very difficult for the vanilla servers, though, Adam, in that the modded servers have got build anywhere, so you can basically build a wall and teleport, just build it up high, where it's not you don't have to build all the way up. So that is something that is hampering the people on the vanilla servers.
Yeah, it's like we are taking care of these issues slowly. There's obviously a lot of windows and other things. Other holes in the buildings that we need to patch.
Yep.
And we'll get there eventually. Obviously, sorry.
I was just going to say, out of curiosity, so I know obviously, like you said, some of the buildings are like 10 years old and some of the assets, and they're all in various different states, I'm sure. What would be more work, fixing up all those different assets, or just creating an item that could be used to barricade the windows?
Definitely creating the item to barricade the windows.
That would be more work, would it? Yeah.
Really?
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I would have thought it'd have been the other way around, to be honest with you.
Same.
I mean, it's like a fix for a window. It usually takes like few minutes, just with actually checking whether it helped or not.
I was just thinking in terms of one window, it might take a few minutes, but how many assets you've got and how many windows. I was just thinking that creating an item would actually be quicker. So that's interesting.
Yeah, you do have a lot of other implications when you start to do stuff like this.
Yeah, it's another persistent object that is in the server too.
Yeah, sure.
There's a mod where you can barricade windows, and I see it when people use it. It really drops the server performance too. It's a great mod, but people put them on every single window as opposed to one wall that would cover 3 windows. They put 3 window barricades, so it's basically 3 walls.
So that's like generally like when you start something like that, or like a feature of like barricading, you need to take a deep look into it and see what are the implications. Because, for example, even with the flagpole, we are basically thinking, oh well, we should probably make it somewhat harder to build in the end, right? So there wouldn't be that much of flagpoles on the server. So we are trying to limit it like from different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And even the flags are perhaps not that common. So yeah, we just have to keep this in mind.
You kind of messed me up with them flagpoles, because before I was using expansions and we had it so that you could only buy them, and they were hella expensive. So it took a bit of work to get a flagpole. And then now everybody's just making them out of rope and a stick. So I've had to drop the price.
Yeah, but it still takes like quite a bit of crafting, and
in vanilla, they're very laborious to build. I'm working on a guide right now on it. You need all kinds of different tools, plus a hammer or a hatchet. You need all these nails, metal wire, rope, all that stuff. It's really time intensive and laborious to build the thing. So once you build it, you deserve it. You earned it. You know what I mean? It's not like it's basically like building a watchtower. It takes the same amount of time, but more tools.
Okay. I might have to adopt that system then.
Yeah, it takes a lot, bro.
Yeah.
But if they can just go to the trader and buy everything, it's not going to be much of a challenge, though, Ben.
Well, I can just make certain items unpurchasable. That's how you do that. Yeah.
Flyers and then make them rare as hell.
I mean, like nails on my server are really expensive. That's one way we've limited people. We allow people to buy them, but we've just made them really expensive, so you can't just go to the trader and buy 100 of them at once.
Adam, are there any plans for barricading in the future? If you can talk about that.
I don't really have an update on that for you.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just saw a few questions there. One other question I did want to ask. Someone said in chat, vehicle fix when I feel this is being dodged. Is there anything you can say to update that?
You know, like the issues around the vehicles, there are like multiple. It's not just one, obviously. And if we would be able to fix it would be fixed, obviously. It's not something that we can easily tackle, unfortunately. We are not putting our hands away out of it, but it's a complicated one. There's a lot of variables in there.
I just think vehicles are a lot better than I remember them being again in the good old days of 0.62. They were a death trap. Now, generally the main issues I see with vehicles, like I'm always confused when people talk about it, Brim, because the main times I've seen issues with vehicles is on the servers which have the McMansions and massive bases and all the rest of it. On servers that I generally play on, where bases are few and far between, the vehicles in general, barring a few little areas, behave perfectly, Brim.
Yeah, I've noticed that as well. I mean, on our server, because it's obviously such a low population server, we don't have a lot of people with a lot of big bases, so the vehicles don't tend to be much of an issue. But I think having the expansion mod kind of added into that a bit, because I remember when before the expansion mod was released, when they had their testing server, I was lucky enough to get the opportunity, thanks to Ben here, in fact, to go on and have a play around. And driving, from Cami down to Electro in just a regular vanilla car was smooth as anything. So there's definitely still obviously some work to be done, but like Adam said, it's not a quick 5-minute fix. There's a lot of variables, and they're definitely a lot better than they used to be. I'll gladly jump in a car now, but years ago I'd much rather walk.
I think one thing that's to do with that, and is probably, I'm not bashing anything here now, Adam, but community servers have now got access to renting dedicated servers with a lot more power or performance than what I'm presuming BI are using. So like server performance, I'm sure Adam will agree, plays a lot in how a vehicle will perform. If you've got a server that's low performance and it's been crammed with 50 mods and it's full pop and it's got 10 FPS, then the cars are probably going to take off. But if you've got, decent server performance, vehicles do tend to behave all right,
I only have issues with vehicles ever on full pop servers with a lot of mods. I think that's the people that are complaining the most are playing on those servers with 100+ people with all kind of mods and monster trucks and stuff. That's just me personally. I don't think cars are that bad. I never really have trouble with them.
Someone's saying definitely vehicles are now server side for security reasons. Back in Legacy, they were client side. Does that make sense to anyone? I imagine it does to you, Adam.
Yeah. You remember?
That makes sense.
Remember the infamous videos with certain streamers being teleported into the sky in buses? Yeah. That's not possible now.
Yeah, I never see anything like that anymore. Everybody still makes the memes, but you never the Chonara space program and all that. But I don't know.
I'm going to ask unhinged question here as well. Adam, can we get ducks on ponds?
You wish.
I saw that and I went, that looks pretty cool, actually. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, we've got to keep on moving, folks. Dumpgra, is there any plans to rework the liquid 32-bit limit so we can add many more liquids than just the 15 we have available now? I have no clue what he means by that.
Yeah, I know. I can't say that I've been looking into it that much.
You haven't been?
So I
Okay.
don't really have an answer for you right now.
Yep, that's fine. What else did we have? 4 things that are very... no, that's... there we go. Will Chernarus or Livonia ever allow modders to add more land and items to it outside the current 14.5 by 14.5 kilometre, seeing as how we have the infinite debug land? I know it's probably not infinite, and allow persistence further out.
No, I don't see that happening anytime soon. Like there's a if people look back, they can see that, for example, the Arma 2 terrains were made available. So there is some space for you to already like increase size of the official maps. But DayZ is not Arma 2, obviously, so I can't really tell you if whether that will be possible ever.
That would probably be also a really good way to completely break a server by using a hell of a large portion more of a map, which all that extra
Yeah,
persistence.
obviously, like when you increase the size of the map, you need to keep in mind the amount of loot that is spawning in there,
Yeah.
the amount of active AIs. It all takes a lot of performance. So
Yeah.
I had a question before you move on, Boydie.
Yep.
I keep getting this one a lot. The zombies, people are constantly asking about the zombies and their colliders or lack thereof. When you're meleeing a zombie and they run right through you, I'm assuming that's on the agenda to be fixed, but I just wanted to ask you now that I've got the man himself in here. Is there work in progress going into that?
it's certainly something that we are aware of. And like when we look into like the list of things that we would like to change in terms of infected, the melee, the fight with them is certainly one to look into. But that's like I don't have anything else for you right now.
Now I'm going to skip to one question from each of the posts that we've got now because there's still a lot of questions. DOJ, basically, his question is, do mods in general influence the development of the game in any way? And if yes, how so? Because he's pointing out that some of the new house interiors and how base rating works and the territory flag and that might have been inspired by the expansion mod.
Like this particular case of the flagpole, we've had the idea for like 2 years. So it just never really gets to it. But in general, yeah, like I'm often just browsing through the workshop, looking at the stuff that people do, or even looking into the code to see like how do people actually write stuff and so on. It's very interesting. Like I was playing yesterday Derail, and even when in terms of like the terrain making, it's really nice to see. It's like how different people are able to use the objects that are in the game. It's just like I'm using my asset library in a certain way. I like have like rules like I will be using the fence in here and so on. But then like someone completely else come to it and just like they figure out like completely different way how to use the object, so that's fun too.
You should check out Essiker if you get a chance.
So, yeah, I am planning to.
Yeah, it's amazing the way that guy used the assets, like you're saying, to build. I can't even explain it.
Monkey's in chat, I think.
Yeah, so I was very excited the moment we've added the like all sorts of like Ivy variants for Livonia. I was excited to see what people will be able to do with it.
Oh yeah, I was excited to get those.
I'll ask the question. I've seen it a few times, Adam. You could say no comment. Will there be any future maps? Official maps?
No active plan at the moment.
Roger.
Please make Namalsk official.
We've talked about this on the show, Adam.
Please.
Yeah.
But if DOG is asking about like what map I would like, I guess, which I think I can answer safely, like this. I would like, if I would have an option, I would definitely try some like post-Soviet landscape in style of like Afghanistan or something, like more desert-like mountainous terrain with like post-Soviet structures and towns and whatnot. It'd be cool to see. And I definitely what I would also like to see would be like the Baikonur Cosmodrome, like an inspiration of that, like just like making a Cosmodrome on the map. I think that would be really cool. Because if you like look at the real life references of that area, it's super cool. Obviously, that's just my wishful thinking. It will never happen, but yeah. If I would clone myself, I would do something like that in my free time.
Do you have any free time?
Yeah.
I'm saying if I would clone myself, right?
All right, yeah. If you cloned yourself,
Just please never leave DayZ.
Exactly. If you leave, mate, we riot.
Yeah.
Medic has asked, earlier he said he wouldn't release Namalsk before some vital survival aspect was fixed in DayZ. I believe this is about the players can use meat items as everlasting heat packs. My question is, what survival aspect were you talking about? Will you tell us what survival aspect you were talking about?
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. Well, the thing you mentioned with items not losing the temperature is probably the biggest one.
Yep.
But there's like a lot of balancing around the cold survival in general. There is like some like adding an ability to like hold the heat that you gain next to fireplace, for example. Stuff like that, basically. That's generally something that you would use on vanilla map anyway, so that just makes sense to have it in the game.
hot stones could be cool. Because you put stones around the fireplace anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's a lot of options and a lot of cool ideas that I have. It's just
Yeah.
to pick the most important ones.
Ski goggles. We'll go with question 1. I'd like to hear a recap, thoughts, reasoning of the central loot economy changes over the past year. Loot types spilling into adjacent areas, the CLE pausing when no players are on, and the extreme change in lifetime hours to days in 1.09. The first seems to be for clearing the queue. The second, I'm not 100% what this improves. The third may improve performance but will stagnate the world and players want change, new, different. Now, we sort of touched on that. There's been a lot of people upset with the changes to the central loot economy in 1.09, but can you elaborate any more on the others?
Yeah, so the loot types spilling into adjacent areas, generally we like the idea of like if there is a medical, the car next to it is also medical. We like that idea. I don't think it's bad in any way. The CE pausing when no players are on, that's just to really save the server performance because there's like unnecessary stuff running in the background when there is literally no one playing, right? So it's just to be sure the CE pauses only when there is no one playing on the server. So just pure performance reasons. Don't need to.
I actually like the loot spilling over. I think
on the server,
makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense completely to me.
Yeah.
But like most of the community servers don't really have that particular issue, but we do on the official servers. There are some empty servers in there, and obviously, like if there is like a machine running multiple servers, you don't really like if there is an option to save performance, you go for it, right?
Yep.
I mean, the CLE pausing when the player's not on the server, that also makes perfect sense, really, because why would the loot change in the world if there's nobody there to change it? So
It's like a deep philosophical question.
that's it. What happens on the map when we're not on there?
Almost like if a tree falls in and no one's around to hear it.
All the zombies and animals get together is what goes on.
The
If
zombies.
an
Only the
EpiPen
central
spawns and
economy
no one's
knows.
there to see it, did it
Yeah.
really spawn at all? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, I guess the lifetime question itself, that's certainly the idea behind it is to make the map more persistent, like the environment more persistent, to slow down the loot cycling. But yeah, like the experiment when I played it, it was somewhat fine. Like I thought that this will actually work. Now I'm less sure, so we need to work on the data more to really see. Well, was this a good idea or should we just make it faster again? That's still in progress. Like I wouldn't say that it's like been decided that we will do it this way, but it's something still gathering data and figuring out, well, was this idea good?
Death's Jesus also says, do you love me more than Lad?
Of course, he's the god of all the grasses and trees on the map, right?
Spud,
every terrain maker has to,
sorry, Foxypote,
Every
any
terrain
chance
maker.
of a community spotlight again?
That's that's a question like for the community management team, I guess, which is right now somewhat struggling, but we are working on that.
Awesome. And Spud from DayZ Down Under asks, what have they have planned or would like to see implemented? Just a nice general question. Anything you can tease? We all know about the tease from the Twitter post about a certain truck maybe making a comeback. No comment?
I mean, like generally asking like what I would like to see implemented.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take the word for it though. Like it's just like completely what I would like to see. I guess like what I have on my list like highest would be probably the work on infected, the interaction with the doors. I think it could truly change the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Zombies.
I'm not
Zombies.
I'm not
opening and closing
confirming
doors.
anything right now. I'm not confirming anything or
No.
something.
You're just
It's
saying
yeah.
your personal wish list.
Yeah, I think that's probably the highest.
I would love that,
And
actually. Just imagine
sound broke up then. All I heard was confirmed.
But that'd be awesome. You bolt into a house and then you just hear them bashing on the door, knowing they're going to eventually break in, and you got a bandage and pray your mate gets there in time.
Yeah.
That would really add some immersion. Sorry, Archie?
Oh, sorry. I saw an old animation somewhere someone was working on at BI, and the zombie was like beating on the door, throwing itself against the door. It was that old zombie with no shirt and the khaki shorts. And I was like, oh man, that was like 4 years ago. But I was like, oh, when's that coming out? Because then you could know which house that the little shithead camper's hiding in, But
Yeah.
it was pretty interesting. They're already jumping through windows. Like I usually lock them up instead of fighting them, and now they know how to jump through windows and come after you.
Someone got a ship in the background.
Oh.
Yeah, that's probably me. I have my window open. Is it too annoying?
No. It sounded pretty cool. It was like, that sounded like a bloody boat horn or something.
No, that was just some bike.
Okay, Sukan. Wondering if BI are interested in taking some of the ideas and mods that are currently extremely popular within the DayZ community and adding them into the vanilla standard of the game, but with their knowledge of making them work right, like Lucian Pin's medical attention mod and perishable food mod, which I love. But I know that probably 99% of the DayZ player base would think was the worst thing ever. But what are your thoughts on that, Adam?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff in general done in the modding community, stuff out of our backlog. So yeah, we may bump into more of these cases.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. That really is. What else have we got? Back to here. Red Hood, what are the plans on the health system? Bleeding, balance, broken bones, carrying uncon bodies. Anything you can say there?
We are looking into it.
Yep. No, that's fine. That's fine. As you said, there's some things you can't really go into.
Broken bones would be a lovely Christmas gift.
Oh, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they?
Oh,
break a leg.
Man.
Break a leg. Because the medical attention...
Archie's onto it.
The medical attention mod is good, but it's still quite buggy. Proper broken bones coming back. It's just a game changer. Is there ever, and we've already talked about crossplay. Derleth, are you in chat, mate? Let me know which question you want to ask the most. If you are, I'll skip to the next one. Red Hood. Doors was marked in the experimental changelog as persistent, but not in the stable changelog of 1.09. Will this or similar features like random door states on server restart get implemented into stable someday?
Yeah, so we've used the experimental period of 109 to just basically get an idea whether the implementation that we've had in the game for a while like actually works, or if there are any issues with it. We found some issue with it. We've already tackled it, and now we're looking to see like if there is more and if it works.
Yep.
Are liking, like, the general idea for the vanilla is that the locked state should be persistent, but the open closed state should be randomized always. So we are working towards that. No promises if it will be in the next one. We'll see.
Okay, we've got a technical question here from Derleth. Will the server files ever better utilize multiple server cores? I have an 8-core machine where the DayZ server executable rarely uses more than 2 cores, which feels like a horrid waste of resources, especially when server performance is so critical to the game experience.
I don't see us changing much in this, to be honest, at this point
Yep.
in time, really.
Okay. I'll give him his number 6 question as well. Will there ever be more infected on official servers? Many community servers run much more infected without performance problems.
Yeah. So the infected count is a tricky one. We've actually, like last year when we are doing Livonia, we've tried a bunch of new stuff, like different way of configuring the infected. But in the end, we had to tone down on it because there were performance issues. It's just, it's kind of unpredictable because sometimes there's just too much people at one place and too much infected in one place, and that's the worst case scenario that can happen. So yeah, we are really careful about that. Generally,
Okay.
try to keep the experience always pleasant if possible.
I think they're going to lynch us if we have the DayZ god Sumac on here and we don't ask about bows and crossbows. Okay, never mind.
I honestly, I know it's a massive question, but personally, I want an experimental patch to drop and someone finds a bow or works out that, you know, they get a long stick and a piece of rope and they craft it, and it just, it sort of comes back to what Jakub said to us, Brim, when we were talking about how awesome Asmondian stuff is. And I said, is there ever any plans? And he goes, but do you really want to know everything? Or do you want to be able to find it out yourself? And that sort of applies to me with this, hey, Brim.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back to when we had some of the expansion guys on various episodes of the podcast as well, where they had the no full damage bug, and we joked that they should fix it but not put it in the patch notes, you know, just to be troll. I would love to see that for official DayZ vanilla. Add in the bows again, but don't say anything about it, and just wait for the community's collective brains to explode an hour after the patch goes live, where everyone's like, I'm running with a bow, what's going on?
This was certainly somewhat possible before we had the modding opened, but literally now, when we release an update, Thurston will post the diff of all the changes to the script and configs, and yeah. Most of our hidden
public knowledge within minutes
at that point.
Someone even said it in chat. Thurston will just leak it. We'll have to get someone to hold Thurston down for 48 hours after experimental files go live, just so someone can have the joy of combining a stick and a piece of rope, and they get next recipe. Wait, what's the next recipe from here? Could it be? Could it be? And yes, it is. It's the bow back. Oh, I think there'll be a party when the bow comes back. It's just, yeah, it was a great little 0.55. I still remember how brutal 0.55 was, and just going around with a bow with the sharpened sticks just to take out infected so you could loot them. And it was, yeah.
That was the coastal equalizer, man. All those ghillie boys on the beach, you could just one-shot them with that bow and arrow. take all
Yep.
their stuff. It's as a freshie, you know, that was the best. Or the guys that would hide up on top of like the hospital on that little building
Mhm.
up on top of the hospital. You can't get up there without them shooting you, but you could like pitch
Yeah.
the arrows over and kill them. It was awesome. Anyway, nostalgia.
Okay, Enter the Pug's just giving you a good troll there, Adam, if you feel like it. Next recipe, rope on a stick. Okay. Alacrity, we'll go with question number 6. Will pistol rounds get a buff? They always seem unrealistically weak.
Yeah, generally, like, we are looking into ways like how we could balance out the ammo and, to be honest, even the weapons in general. There was some balancing done on the weapons again in 109 related to like the durability of weapons. And yeah, it's an ongoing thing. I can't really promise if this exact thing will happen, but we are looking into the balance of the ammo
Yep.
in general.
Jacob Bango, noticing no questions about Namalsk, so here's one. Don't believe we will ever get a full answer on this aside from there being 3, and will it be dark in there? Will the underground be extensive, and would it be a connected network or separate? So now's probably the time, and I did actually have this, I was going to save it for afterwards, but what can you tell us? We've talked about DayZ a lot. What can you tell us about Namalsk? Got to give us a juicy scoop here, Adam.
Yeah, and BI is not going to get mad.
What you know? What can I tell? What I already didn't. You know, it's like I thought so much stuff about it already. It's just I want to avoid talking about it too much because I'm just breaking all the fun, right?
We're hyped for it,
This
mate.
way,
We
I
are.
haven't really shown much of stuff from Namalsk itself, how it changed and so on. I really keep it tight, and there is still some stuff that I keep tight. And yeah, well, I mean, Jacob is asking about the underground being dark. Yes, it will.
Nice.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
I never played it, so I'm avoiding watching anything on it.
It will be dark and spooky.
Did you create that bloodsucker monster? Was that your baby back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Thing used to scare the hell out of me, man. We would go invisible. Oh, dude.
But there's no bloodsuckers in this one, is there?
No, I confirmed that several times. That's not going to happen. I rather invested time someplace elsewhere.
Bordy, you can RP as the bloodsucker.
I'm pretty sure somebody will mod one in.
Someone will make a mod for it. I'm certain.
No mod one in.
Yeah. Okay, what have we got? Will there ever be the ability to shoot guns while in a car? Now, I recall you saying in the past that yes, that is something. Not you necessarily, but someone saying that is coming.
It was certainly something that is being looked at a certain point. I can't really give you an update.
That's fine. That's fine. But we know it is on the list of things to hopefully get done. Also, will infected ever spawn outside of towns and cities on the roads and in forests, etc.? I know there's a good mod that does that now, PVZ. But yeah, that would be interesting. Especially for the people who like to auto run.
But it kind of comes down again to the question like, well, how do we spawn infected into the map at the moment, and what are the implications on the performance? So we rather prefer to have infected numbers at the moment around the important areas, right?
Yep.
So if someone decides to do bad stuff in there, it will be dangerous for them.
Scales Peter, can we please make it longer to grow food, at least a day? Can food please rot after cooked 2 days? And could we have cigarettes at work? As a long-time ex-smoker, I'd love the opportunity to light up again. Well, if he gets cigarettes, I want vape units.
Yeah, I do remember the discussion about the farming.
Yep.
Should it be fast? Should it be slow? Not something that we are looking into at the moment for sure.
Okay.
I suppose with that, you've got to balance the grow time with how long a player lives. So if you make it, if it takes all day to grow some vegetables and you're gonna die after a couple of hours or an hour, then you'd have to
Yeah.
rebalance everything else with it, wouldn't you?
You guys are just picking on these casuals, man.
What about ragdoll? I've seen it mentioned a few times. Anything you could say on ragdoll mechanics, Sumrak?
Yeah, so the reason why it isn't in the game, that is complicated, but it's the same case like with the vehicle problems, right? So it's not an easy topic, not an easy feature, and right now I know that there are like issues that the ragdoll would technically solve. At least people see it that way.
Yep.
For example, the body is falling through the walls, right? So that's, I certainly know that people that people are keen to seeing it back for getting rid of this issue, or generally just to see somewhat better looking more realistic deaths when you kill someone. I agree, but yeah, it's certainly a big feature. It's something that if didn't work properly even in old DayZ. Like I like to mention always the sliding body issue. When you killed someone, it ragdolled, but then it was just like
slide down the hill,
You had to go
sliding
and find
away
the body,
somewhere,
didn't you?
you know.
then you couldn't
It's
work
just
out
like
where the
that,
actual
so-
body was, and
Yeah, certainly challenging one to do. So we will be rather looking into ways how to solve some of the problematic issues in a different way than using the ragdoll, because it's a risky thing for us.
actually, that Unhinged has raised a really good point there. How hard is it for you guys in the dev team when you've got the hardcore PvPers, the hardcore base raiders, the hardcore role players, the hardcore PvEers, and trying to balance this game that so many people are all tearing at it going, I want it to be like this. No, I want it to be like this. How hard is it for you guys to find that delicate middle ground in the middle there that everyone can be sort of happy with?
Not easy.
How many grey hairs have you had grow in the last
I think
6 months?
They are falling off directly. It's
You look like me
Well-
soon, mate.
Do you ever sit there and just think, will they ever be fucking happy?
No, that's not going to happen for sure. Like there's just so much diversity in there, right? And it's like, well, yeah, the best option is obviously, and luckily DayZ is so highly customizable that it's actually possible that everyone who likes the concept of DayZ will probably find good server for them, and that's mainly because of the community, right? Like there is tons of different servers, tons of mods, so it's not just the vanilla that says like this is how we want the game to be played. If some people disagree, they obviously can give us feedback. We will process it, we will consider it, but we will not be doing deathmatch from vanilla or something. That's just we do have some ideas. Like we obviously do need to keep an eye on the fact that okay, if you are a new player, this is likely what you are bumped into, right? If you buy DayZ, you will just start it up and you will just connect to some official server. So like we need to keep an eye on that to see, does this make sense? Like can the new player actually do something in there?
And I'm going to be very, very selfish with this next question. Probably the last question we'll do before we get into the rest of the podcast. And it's from Jacob Mango. Payday masks. Oh my God, I'd forgotten about them. Can we please get them back?
Nope.
Oh, no.
But what if you just change the name to like Mayday Mask or something like that?
No, they are not returning back.
Modders, have at it. We need a Payday mask mod.
We'll just leave a blank model in the file somewhere, and we'll sort it out.
Come on, we do have enough of these leftovers in our data.
Maybe masks of all the different developers' faces instead.
Oh, please no.
And Mr. Dutch, you're asking about the bicycle. I think we touched on it earlier. They've said time and time again in the past they would love to. But if you have any questions about how difficult it is to get a bike working in DayZ, send Jacob Mango in the chat a whisper. He's working on one for the expansion mod. But basically, the main issue, as I recall, Adam, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's hard enough just for the vehicles to be able to drive off-road, let alone a two-wheel vehicle which has completely different physics and can access a hell of a lot more places that vehicles can't. So it's going to be an absolute nightmare, mammoth job to implement push bikes and motorbikes, as I understand it.
Yep.
I got it right.
Yes, you did.
Pat yourself on the back, mate.
Yeah, the boomer got something right for once. Oh my freaking God. I'll do one last quick check. Is there anything else? Probably a good one from Foxy here. Can they add a streamer mode when putting codes into a combination lock, etc., to hide the numbers or something?
As somebody who streamed his base codes 5 times this week.
Yes.
Get an overlay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something harder for the vanilla one, I guess.
I have 3 questions, if I may, before you go on, Boydie.
Yeah, go for it, mate.
So, chat asked earlier on my side about carrying the carcasses of chickens and hens and such. In case you didn't have a knife, could you put the carcass in your inventory like you can with a fish before you prepare it?
Yes, I like that.
If you can't allude to it, I understand. I'm just asking what they're asking. I think it's a good idea. It's similar to the mackerel and the carp. You just carry the carcass, and then once you finally get to a knife, you can process it.
Yeah, it's certainly something that I've heard like years back. That would be nice to have the chicken like that, or the rabbits like they were in the old DayZ 2. But yeah, that's certainly not the priority now.
Yep.
Okay. And then question number 2, because of all the DDoSing and stuff that's going on with the community servers, someone mentioned if there was a way that DayZ could hide the IPs for the servers so that people can't get the IP and then hit them with a DDoS attack like what's been going on lately. I'm sure you're aware, like a lot of the big time streamers that came over, they keep getting DDoSed off the server that they're playing on.
To quote what you said to Ben before, use an overlay.
Right. But the thing is, if they know which server the guy's in, which isn't hard,
yeah,
then they can just go on the lobby or go into the lobby and find the IP.
But then you got Game Tracker and things like that. I don't know if that'd even be feasible, would it?
Even if you got around all that, if somebody's connected to a server, they can easily find out the IP of it. So
Okay. I'm just asking the questions they're leaving here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really solvable this way. The DDoS is you can always only mitigate stuff. It's like filter out the traffic and so on. It's a complicated one indeed.
And what else did you have, Archie? You said 3 questions.
I can't find it. Carry on.
That's right. Ben, have you got any questions from your chat, mate?
no. Is spray painting coming back? I know you can't really talk about too much, so I've been asked about that.
Yeah.
You can't say
really
anything. I
want to
know.
talk about it?
Yeah, I know.
Fine.
I know. Sorry.
That's fine.
That means
Yeah. Other than that, no more.
Okay. So we are back to the agenda now. Summit 1G on Twitter. What was this one? Oh God, yes. Oh, Adam. What did you have to think about that? Because that's pretty much you're the one who did the mapping for a lot of this stuff. What did you think of what Summit had to say?
Oh well.
Chat's actually. I don't think our chat's ever moved that fast for a while in my life. Oh no! Remove the trees. We need more trees.
I think like I would sum it up this way. You know, I consider this as being a feature, right? So
It's not a bug; it's a feature.
Reason, right?
I like what you did
If you are
there.
playing DayZ careful enough, right? You are moving in the tree lines, you are moving in the forest, you know, like carefully like, looking around, and you know, you use it to your advantage, right? Always. So I don't really see that big of an issue, to be honest. It's part of the game. That's the way I see it. What I think is generally the randomization that we chosen for the conifer forest on Chernarus is something that should have been done a bit different. I think the Livonia forests are much better
I
informed.
love them. I love them.
So there's certainly, you know, lessons learned. Like I'm literally in no position that I would be able to change it. You know, the trees were generated. That's about it. Like we won't be changing it. It's just, yeah, I can sort of understand some of the forests are perhaps too random. You know, but still, in the end, like I see it more of a part of the game. You know, it's just like you have the option to just move the engagement into the forest, and you can, well, obviously you can choose to run away, right, from the encounter, or you can also as easily just do 180 and shoot the other guy in the back, right? Because it's so confusing in some of the forests to just like keep looking at every, you know, corner of the forest and just like looking around you and trying to find the guy. So it's, yeah, I think it's part of the game, to be honest. Like that's
Same.
the way I see it.
I personally don't have a big issue with him, but I know he's a big PvP player. But what were you going to say, Archie?
I was gonna say every time I fight somebody, they run in the woods so they can tree VP. You know, hide in the conifer and shoot out. What did Summit even say? Like, I'm not on Twitter. You know, like
1 second. It was DayZ needs to remove 50% of their trees and 80% of the Christmas trees. Never had worse forest battles or tracking people in my game. Now, Summit got 2,500 hearts for this, but the comments, oh my God, the comments were fucking just next level. It was the saltiness of people in the bend. You're sitting there with a smile on your face. It was some next level stuff, wasn't it? How long did it went for days? And then, of course, I have to jump to it right now. Adam, did you see? Well, firstly, he accused the dev team of trolling him. Did you do it, Adam?
No, we did not.
I know you didn't, and I know who did it, but I'm not going to say who did it. Do you know who did it, Adam?
No, I did not.
You don't.
But
Well, if that person wants to identify himself, he can. But have you saw the clip? Obviously.
Yeah.
Did you laugh? You laughed, didn't you?
wait, what happened?
You haven't seen this? Oh wait, I've got.
You
Okay,
need to see this, Archie.
I hope it's still got the audio.
You need to see this.
This is next level. So he logs into. I've gone to the wrong one. He logs into a server, and this happens. Let me see if I can. If I move that over there. 1 second. And then if I share my stream with you.
You're being. You're being.
Can you see it?
It's loading. Let's see, one more time.
I'm just going to mute it because he doesn't really say anything and I don't want music copyright. But are you ready? Everyone ready?
Yeah. I see it. There's only one man who could do something like that.
Stream can't see it, Woody, by the way.
Oh, 1 second.
Stream can't see it.
Sorry, stream. Here we go.
The Christmas tree.
And all the little bauble decorations as well. It would have been even better if they were circular like the Christmas trees, but it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. Next level, just... And sadly, they've all... I went through and I clipped a bunch of his reactions to it. But if anyone wants to see that, give me 1 second. And you want to hear what was said, and then you can find the link to it. I'm posting it in chat right now. That's the clip that I had sent to me. But I did clip some extra ones, but they've all been deleted because, yeah, they were copyrighted or whatever. I know the people who run that server apparently weren't too impressed with it happening on their server, but I just think that was absolutely next level. A really good... It helped diffuse what was becoming a bit of a ticking time bomb. Hey, Brimstone.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, I don't know what server that happened on, but if that server owner has an
Please don't
issue-
say it in chat either, folks. We're trying to keep that server quiet.
Yeah,
There's a
let's
lot of
keep
streamers going there, so please don't say it.
Yeah, if any one of the admins on that server has an issue with that happening and doesn't see the bright side, and I know I'm going to get hate a little bit for this, but they need to lighten the fuck up. It was just a funny little thing that someone's done for a good laugh on Twitter. It hasn't hurt anyone. No one's died. The idea that a server admin can get pissed off with the fact that that's even happened is mind-boggling to me.
That's
It was
one of
funny.
the best events in DayZ this
Yes.
year.
Yes. In DayZ history, that is one of the best moments. It is up there with Toprek and Mr. OG going through town. It's up there with the kill I saw in Survivor Games where the bloke got the kill with the amphibia with 2 rounds on the people drinking at the well. It's just, there's not many moments that have happened in the game that are up there with that. Yeah, it is just game. Why you have to be mad? But that was brilliant. That was some next level stuff. What was your take on it, Adam?
He's muted.
You muted yourself, Adam?
Maybe got a phone call from BI. He's giving too much information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stop here, boys.
We'll come back when Adam gets his mic working.
I tell you, I need to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
It's just one of them long podcasts. I'll be
The
back in a
knife got
minute.
him. DayZ account, can you please confirm, is 1 wink or 2, is Adam still alive? What else did we have? Summit also again on Twitter. What was this one? Did I go? Oh, yeah, he was, because he did have a bit of a joke at the end of it. It's sad that those videos are gone now. But he was quite impressed with it all, to be honest. Very bemused.
He took it as a joke. He took it exactly as it was meant to be taken, as a bit of a laugh, a bit of a troll, nothing to worry about. And I think he had like the perfect reaction to that.
He did. And DayZ have just confirmed Adam is still alive. Just. BI hire a new lead for their survival game, DayZ. No, I don't think that. Oh God, if they did that, there'd be riots on the streets. There would be absolutely riots on the street.
I think we're screwed if he ever leaves. Genuinely.
Foxy shared a post, and this one was really, really sad. This was a very, very sad note. So my apologies for the bliff tone that I used at the beginning of it, but the DayZ community lost another person who, sadly, I don't recall myself, but I know many people who did know this guy, Bal Baines. Gonna miss you, bros. So many people are gonna miss you. Sleep well, my brother. Sleep well, my brother. A true gent in the world that didn't deserve you. Gone but never forgotten. Now, does anyone know more about him?
I heard his name over the years, but never really heard much, so to speak. But yeah, either way, it's pretty shit news one way or the other, isn't it? Let's be
Yeah.
honest.
Particularly as he looks quite young.
What was his name?
Balbanes, Balbanes.
They do say the good die young. It's just a shame that has to actually be a
I'm
literal
fucked
thing
then. I'm
nowadays.
going to be living forever.
Let's be honest, none of us want that at this point.
I know Ben will probably outlive me though.
You seen how hard a life I'm living here?
I know this is off topic, but Ben, you have a lovely home.
Thank you, mate. Thank you.
Is it enough, Junior? If you got what are you saying there? The only thing I'm mad about Bohemia Interactive is I got the Livonia and paid $50 for it, but I only got the regular game. Was that through Steam or was that directly from the website? Because if that's through Steam, you need to take that up with Steam. And if you bought it through the Bohemia Interactive website, definitely send them an email, mate. They're generally very, very good at getting back to you. Microsoft Store. So that'll be through the Microsoft Store, mate. You definitely need to take that up with them. Hopefully you've got it, your receipt for your email. You should have had one emailed through to you, but definitely take it up with them, mate. And if you don't hear anything, send the DayZ Twitter a message, and you'll probably find someone from there will get back to you, mate. They might not be able to do a lot, but they may be able to speak to the right people at Microsoft. But that's a Microsoft issue, mate. You didn't see any animal in the game except wolves. Ouch. I think I did see a deer once, but I haven't played in a good while. Definitely jump back on it, mate. It's a good game. And to be honest, I'm fucking amazed they got it to work on console. When I first heard it was going to console, I thought it was a fucking nightmare. It's like, how the hell are you going to make a game like DayZ work on console? And they did it. It blows my mind. Okay. Weekly show agenda.
There you go. DayZ's got back to him in the chat already.
Yeah. They're very, very good, mate. They were pretty quiet there for a while, but they've definitely changed again and are happy to. They want happy customers. What's this? I've got another Summit
I
1G
think
status.
I included something about the DayZ Twitter recently, and it was one of my suggestions for the podcast this week as well. It looks like we're kind of going back to the good old Jakub days with a couple of the responses recently around 109. So yeah, they're definitely worth getting a hold of on Twitter if you ever have an issue.
Yeah, definitely. So we're seeing a few old school people coming back. We've got Asmund shared with us Deadly Slob is going to be trying out DayZ again, which is good because Deadly got huge playing Escape from Tarkov, didn't he, fellas?
Yeah, he was doing pretty good on DayZ, but
Yeah.
I remember when he went over, he said it was because his time slot at the crack of dawn, there was no one on any of the U.S. or North American servers, so he had to switch to EFT. And he was getting like 1,000 viewers per stream on DayZ.
Yeah.
But yeah, now he's exorbitantly ahead of that. His growth is something that I envy.
I know Markstrom was on DayZ the other day. I saw him on. And
Mr. Blackout?
Elkiana's just said in the chat as well. Sacriel was on the other day. I think, did I see Blackout on?
Yep, Blackout was on. I was watching him.
Everybody's coming out of the woodwork. All the old DayZ players now, and obviously and new people as well.
Someone saying Sacriel had opinions. Be impartial. I'm just going to move on to the next topic. Sorry, what was that, Brim?
I'd say the only thing with Sacriel is he spends 99% of his time on the front page of Twitch.
Be impartial. Be impartial. We're professional on this show. Aren't we, Ben?
Speak for yourself.
Okay. Brim, you shared Happy bomb status. Zero. This was next level. And I actually retweeted, I think, this and sent it to the dev team that we've implemented a new armor damage system that we've built in an attempt to bring back the old days of more unconscious states rather than insta-deaths. Hopefully this will result in more interesting player situations. Test results as below. Only on the Zero servers. So again, if there's anyone from the Zero servers here, please spam your Discord in the chat for everyone. But this excited the fuck out of me because it is one of, I think I've said it quite a few times, one of my biggest bugbears with DayZ is just pretty much it's either you're wounded, dead. The only time you go uncon is when you fall unconscious through sickness or unconscious through zombies hitting you. Maybe in a fist fight as well. But even fist fights seem to just end in death now.
Yeah, I've seen a few people recently mention the idea of when you are knocked out in a PvP situation and there's obviously, they say in a small town and there's zombies everywhere, the zombies tend to go for the downed player to try and finish them rather than going for the person that's still up that won that interaction. So it'd be nice to see the zombies going more for that player that's still running around, giving that downed player a bit more chance to have that knocked out state and to make the most of it.
I know on my server we've been using the expansion taser to get the knock.
I love that thing.
Yeah, to get I
So
do as
much
well. That's the coastal equalizer on our server.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you come down with a ghillie and everything and a shake tech and a freshie comes up behind you with a taser, you better run.
I hate so many people. So many people. It's like a shovel. It's like you're shooting a shovel at people. I love it.
There needs to be
Brilliant.
more non-lethal weapons. In my opinion.
The knockout state, I agree. That was some of the best trolling ever, was knocking people out and doing all kinds
yeah.
of stuff to them.
You guys remember when they talked about the blowgun with the blow darts that knocked people out?
No.
That was like they
It's in the files.
yeah, it was a few years ago they talked about it. The tasers in the files too.
The blowgun's in there as well. It takes a CO2 cartridge to fire it. It's in the files and you can spawn it in admin tools, but it won't do anything. It'll just bug in your hands. You have to like log out 6 times and then delete it with your admin tools from the floor because otherwise your character and server will be bugged.
There's somebody actually working on a gas powered gun that fires darts.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I think that's what the rubber slugs were supposed to do, but they just ended up being kind of broken. Because to uncon someone, you have to shoot them in the head like twice.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I play only vanilla pretty much, and chasing somebody around with a shotgun, shooting them twice in the head to knock them out. It's easier for me to just get a shovel.
Even the dart gun would be good. Just shooting those darts. Both maybe a pistol version and a rifle version of it for those who like to play with their food before they eat it. I can just imagine Danny Boy, what he would do with one. What else have we got? DayZ Twitter Watch. We always like to keep an eye on. Yes, the DayZ is on sale right now. The Bohemia Publisher Sale is here from the 10th to the 14th of September. Grab up to 80% off a selection of games and DLC, including 75% off Arma 3, 40% off DayZ, and much more. And there are links to that in the chat. I will post a link to that if anyone needs it as well. Now is probably a good time to mention as well, for those who've hung around this long, on either my stream, Archie's stream, or Ben's stream. I don't know, have either of you two given away your copies yet?
No.
We will be giving away... No. Sorry, you have, Archie?
No, I haven't, sorry. For some reason, I have to use push to talk, and my cursor has to be on the Discord monitor. Otherwise, anyway.
But yeah, thanks to DayZ, we are giving away it's a PC copy, sorry folks, each of DayZ and the Livonia DLC as well. Brim, you would have had one, but you're not streaming tonight, mate. So I figured tonight, because we've got so many eyes on us, would give it to the guys who are streaming.
Sounds good to me. I'm just enjoying my holiday.
So I'll be doing that at the end of the stream, folks, doing the giveaway.
I'll do the same. I'll use
got
my
a-
bot at the end.
Yep. What about you, Archie? When are you going to do yours?
I actually have to be on duty in like 35 minutes, so I might end up doing it Monday.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Well, you should probably get a run
That
then,
way
mate,
I
if you've
can
got to
do
be
it
on
on stream.
duty in 35 minutes.
Yeah, I live 10 minutes away from base. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
But
can't
yeah,
go
I
to
am
work
gonna.
with your press vest on.
I got to wear a different kind of vest in there. But it was a pleasure as always. Thank you guys for having me.
No worries, mate. All the best.
Yeah, brother. I'm
Take
gonna
it
send
easy,
you
man.
send these viewers your way, and
Send
Ben,
them
you get better looking
over
every time
to
I
Ben,
see you.
mate. Send them over to
All
Ben.
right. Let me get his. Okay.
Because are you going to be streaming after we finish, Ben?
Yeah, I'm streaming all night.
Yep, I'll send my guys over to you as well, mate.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Server Spotlight. We are now down to the bits and pieces of the podcast. Anyone got a server spotlight for this week?
I'll be straight up because of 109 updates and stuff like that. I'm a little bit out of the server spotlights.
Yep.
And mod. I've not got a clue what's been going on in modding in the last week, really.
What about you, Brims? What about a shout out for your server, mate?
Yeah, can do. I mean, we're recently making some changes. We're actually looking at the possibility of moving over to a different map. We're actually going to leave Chernarus eventually and just try some new things out. But basically, just type in Futile on the DayZ standalone launcher, and you'll find us there. Yeah, so we've got two servers, but we've passworded one of them as a testing server for now. And we're going to look at adding all sorts of random things in. We're going to add some toxic zones. I'll be custom mapping again when I get back from my holiday in the next couple of days. And I think we're probably going to end up looking at moving over to Deer Isle, because Deer Isle doesn't really get as much love as it deserves for as good as a map as it is. So yeah, we're going to give that the old college try.
And I'm going to shout out my own server, folks. It's only got 20 slots. It's based in Australia, but it is a very, very hardcore server. You find ammunition in stacks of 1 to 3 rounds in general, and we've got some mods on there like medical attention and perishable food and ammo making, and just basically going for a more hardcore, grinding, interaction-focused experience where you need to find people to be able to achieve your goals, and that could be work with them or take them out and take what they have to achieve your goals. So, yeah, definitely a bit of a grinding server, but it's called Dean's Beans. Sorry
about that. I'm back.
Oh, that's all right, mate.
Oh,
That's
mate.
all right. There was something we were going to wait. What was I talking about, Ben? Do you remember that we needed to ask Adam about?
I'm sure
Yeah,
it was something
sorry. I'll go back. I'll go back and I'll just quickly cover the points. So Ben, sorry, Adam, did you guys see the tweet about another member of one of the DayZ communities sadly passing away, Balbanes?
Yes, this news got to me.
Yeah,
Sweet.
very, very sad when that happens,
Very
but
unfortunate.
there's been a few memorable ones throughout the years. And I've always said that I know you guys have done a couple of particular memorials for certain people in the game, but I've always said, because DayZ's just, it's not a flash in the pan game. I've always felt that a great addition to the map, Adam, would be just a memorial somewhere that people could, to those who are no longer with us. And, you could run there and you could drop either their favorite weapon or, just it became a place of, for everyone to, I know some people have had certain locations throughout the map which they associate with some people, but I think that'd be, particularly on Chernarus, because Chernarus is the OG map, just a location somewhere that would be a nice as a memorial for those who've lost mates they played with in the past.
There is like a couple of places already, and for like several people. So there's obviously unnamed, just the people who really know.
Yeah.
they will know,
Well,
so they have a place.
I was going to say, if you did put actual names and stuff in there, you might get the negative side of it as well.
Yes.
So I think like keeping that stuff maybe semi-private or unnamed is the best way of doing it.
That's the way we did it so far, and there's like a couple of different places on the map that you can actually bump into, but generally only the people that should know.
Yeah.
Best way.
Yeah, Memorial Town in Severograd, Miss Fu saying maybe we just need to make a motion, do something and just do it sort of as a community that for things like that, tweet out a photo of people dropping bits of cans of bacon, or if God forbid anything ever happens to me, I want everyone to drop a pair of red punk boots at my favourite town, Sinnerstock, up in the northwest there. They can drop them at the chapel there. That's my favourite item in the game is the red punk boots. But yeah, an end game in graveyard with its own church with tombstones of the. Yeah, but as Ben was saying, Sweet Tooth, something like that would be, where do you draw the line of who you name and who you don't name? So I'm certain there's probably been hundreds of people who've played with people in the game that have passed away over all these years that DayZ's been a thing. But it's a great idea nonetheless.
It's a great idea, but like you say, I think you'd have to have a whole separate dev team dedicated just to that one thing, wouldn't you? It's unfortunately, but it's definitely a nice idea.
And we were saying, Adam, it's good seeing some of the old school people coming back. Deadly Slob, Sacriel, Mr. Blackout. I'm certain there's been more that people have seen either playing. Markstrom, you said as well there, Ben?
Yeah, he was on very recently.
Yep. What did he have to say about the game?
I don't know. I didn't get to tune in. I just literally spotted that he was on. Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Blackout was overall very impressed, Adam. The only thing was, like I said at the beginning, about with the difficulty in finding stones, and you've said that that's something you guys are aware of and working on. So the main thing I'm getting, though, is most people are amazed. The only thing that saddens me is that it took basically Shroud playing the game for so many people to, and this might be an unpopular opinion, and I'm sorry for saying it while you're on the show, Adam, but to pull their heads out of their asses and actually install DayZ again, and not just rely on the gossip that they hear about the game, but to actually try it themselves, and especially for those who hadn't played in years, see just how far the game has come. No one wants to touch that one with a 10-foot pole.
I think that's part of what DayZ is as well, though, isn't it? Is you get a lot of people will sort of happily bitch and moan about it with little to no knowledge about what they're talking about, and you get people moan about specific things. There's not enough stones, there's not enough of this thing, there's too much of the other. I think DayZ, for me personally, DayZ is what you make it. DayZ is it's an open game where you choose your own destiny, you choose your own path. If you're not happy with the way it is, then change up your play style, do something different. Like for years I've been PvE. I'll build a base, I'll hang out, just generally, and then normally there's very little PvP involved. But recently, in the last couple of months, I'm straight on the first server that's highly populated. Give me a shovel and a sledgehammer, and I am gonna hurt someone. And it's you just sometimes you just got to change up your play style and do it differently.
Adam, what's your play style in general?
I tend to be friendly.
I beg to differ. I was stood by a petrol pump the other night, and he was trying to blow me up on the quiet.
Friendly but cheeky. Don't turn your back on him. Don't turn your back on him, mate.
Yeah, don't turn your back on him.
I was playing yesterday on Deer Isle with Septic, and I found one guy like in the barracks, and I also hesitated to give him the headshot, but I did it eventually. But it was still
feels good, doesn't it?
the friendliness in there, just like, maybe the guy was actually friendly,
I love what the DayZ account just said in chat. I would shoot you in the face with your shoes. Oh, that's awesome. But I actually love that you guys are. I know it's been rough for you, Adam, with the amount of vitriol and hate that some people suffered in the past. In particular, Brian, Dean, Eugen, and so on in the past from people who clearly crossed the line, and it made people a bit shy. But it's great to see you guys actually stepping out and getting involved back in the community, because it's so awesome to see you playing with Helkiana, see you playing with Septic Falcon, Rageborough I think you played with as well, and just we don't need to know what you had for breakfast, but it's so much DayZ's game that so many people are so invested in that it's great to get to know you just that little bit more.
Yep. I mean, I kind of got involved automatically because I was always on the modding side of things. So I from the beginning I wanted to be in touch with the people that are actually modding the game, so I have an idea. Okay, what's happening in there? What are we doing? What we shouldn't be doing, and so on. So yeah, that's kind of rolled out, and yeah, it's fun.
It's a small community and it's quite tight. So when you get that little extra personal touch from yourself, it means a lot.
Just looking at the Steam chart right now, there's a definite uptick.
Numbers have gone
there.
Same on Twitch as well. If you look at the viewer numbers, I'm not just talking about Shroud. If you look at loads of streamers, their viewer count is going way up compared to a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing to see some people popping off.
Yeah.
Smoke had 10K watching him yesterday.
Wow.
10K.
The best part of it is, though, Adam, there's so many new eyes on the game now, isn't there? There's people who've never even heard of DayZ because it's been in development for so long. And I know that's a meme in itself, but there are kids who were 12 when DayZ first started, and now they're legal adults, and they probably never heard of the game. And the first they've heard of it is seeing Shroud, who nearly all of them have heard of, playing this game and going, there's a whole new generation of people finding out. I love going into Shroud's chat and just seeing people say, so what's the purpose of this game? Whatever you want it to be.
Cool.
And then they're literally, you can almost imagine them sitting there with their head ticking over, struggling to comprehend. What do you mean, whatever you want it to be? That's not how video games work. Video games there's a reason. Tell me what the reason is. And
what have I got to do to complete DayZ?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't
Tell me
DayZ.
how can I win it?
Yeah. And it's such a novel idea that, like Minecraft was probably the first one that I can think of. But Minecraft is clunky and blocky and all the rest of it. An amazing game. I played it myself, but DayZ is the first, professional looking game that has fully tapped into that. Do whatever you want. We're not responsible for it if you want to be a complete and utter psychopath. We're just providing you with a platform, and you do you.
Yeah, I think the Hellfire show has given the best explanation for me personally, is he says that whenever he buys a new game, however much it costs, let's say for example it costs £20, $20, whatever, as long as he's had the same amount of hours as money spent, so say 20 hours for example in the game, and he's at least had a small amount of enjoyment out of it, he'd say it's worth the money.
Yeah. Yep. That's what I say. The money I spent on DayZ back when I bought it in February, the year after it came out, December there, and it's cents. It's cents for every hour I've had of this game. So that to me is value right there and then. What else did we cover quickly? Adam, I shared a tweet with the dev team. I don't know whether you can see it on the stream here, but the Zero server. We were talking about it's something I know I've raised in the past, but at the moment in the game, and again, I know it's a sort of a bit of a future thing. the fact that you go to dead status so quickly now, very rarely in a gunfight do you end up unconscious. Is that something you're aware of and working on, or something that's not being looked at right now?
Not right now,
Yep.
for sure, but it's very closely tied to that rebalance of like ammo and so on, weapons.
Nice.
And it's also the other thing is that the unconscious is perhaps also not in the best shape. I mean, one of the parts that are connected to it is also the fact that you literally don't see your shock state, so it's literally no idea to know where you actually fall uncon and so on. So there's like bits and pieces that we would like to look at. We'll see.
See, it's interesting. Someone in chat is saying that you definitely go unconscious. Unconscious is in a perfect state right now. I can't remember the last time I went unconscious in a gunfight. It's usually always wounded, dead. Unless you get shot and then bleed out and go unconscious, but bullets just kill you, has been my experience lately. But it's nice to know it's something that you are aware of, and sometime down the line there may be some work with that associated with the ammo rebalance that you were mentioning. So that's good to hear. We mentioned that DayZ's on sale now. Adam, are you prepared to say what's your favourite server? What server really appeals to you?
I mean, for the whole history that I've been playing, I think I probably spend most of the time on the Underground.
DayZ Underground, yep.
Yep.
It's just such a great server. It really is. Some of the mods they have on that server, the one that I love the most is the tape recorder. I absolutely love the tape recorder. I love finding the cassette player and going around and finding all these cassettes and just walking along, playing them and hearing these stories. It's probably one of the most immersive things I've ever encountered in DayZ. It's hats off to the team behind DayZ Underground. Ben, you're smiling?
Oh, sorry, just reading something in my chat. All right, carry on.
Oh, no.
Daone mentioning the test server.
Yeah, that one.
I spent a lot of time in there, yeah.
And yes, Underground is also super hardcore in terms of food, loot, etc. So they've got a pretty damn good balance. Nearly every hardcore survival focus server out there looks at DayZ Underground for inspiration on what to do. They're probably at the top of the leaderboard when it comes to that type of server.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aussie Freak, we talk about bows and arrows. Yeah. You'll just have to wait and see. Adam can't confirm anything for that's coming out in the future or their plans for the future, but he is well aware of the community's desire for bows and arrows to come back to DayZ as soon as possible. And if it was up to him, you'd do it tomorrow, wouldn't you, Adam?
Oh my.
To be fair, that does raise a small question from me, if I can, for Adam there. Assuming, if you had complete authority to do anything at all that you wanted, and no one could tell you off, and money wasn't a factor or anything, what is the one thing, as crazy as you like, that you would want to put into DayZ, even if it was just for a joke?
Good question.
I will probably still say the infected opening doors.
Really?
That would be a game changer, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It would change the meta up seriously.
I'm down with that. I think that would be a brilliant idea. And again, I love the idea of not putting it in the patch notes, just because I think I'm a bit of a sadist.
Oh yeah, that first day.
There is like, I would say like one of the also very things very high on the list, but obviously that's a wish list, not going to happen. The night dynamic seasons, I would love to see like churners changing over time. Be really nice. We'll be able to like live the whole year in there. Be cool. But obviously the tech isn't really there, so we can't really do it.
Yep. So server spotlight. Well, we've had we'll also, while we've got so many people watching, if you want a good, how would you describe your server, Ben?
Heavy on PvP and base building and raiding.
And Gamer Girl Bathwater.
And there is the odd slightly little mamey thing in like Gamer Girl Bathwater, yeah.
Have you
But yeah,
made it so there's a chance you get sick from that yet?
Not yet, no. There's a few things we've got planned for a few of the items like that.
Please do.
No, not yet.
Should be a 50% chance of chlamydia or bloody, oh, God knows, I don't know what.
Random chance of getting something stuck in your teeth.
Oh, come
dear.
on. Come
I know
on.
the dentist says you've got a floss, but that's just taking it a bit too far.
We do the things that Vanilla DayZ can't.
Mod Spotlight. Adam, I'd be interested in your take on this one. Now, every week we talk about any mods that have really blown us away with what they're doing. What about yourself? What have you looked out there and just gone, wow, this is amazing what these people are doing?
I can mention Deer Isle. I was just playing yesterday actually on it.
Yep.
Because I've seen like the like a status update on Reddit from John, it's the author of the Deer Isle map, and yeah, that's like the changes that he's been doing in there for like past year. It's really amazing to see it, and he's even experimenting like some snowy area at the edge of the map that looks like something out of Skyrim.
Yep.
Really cool.
True maps take ages to make, the one is saying, and I imagine with you being a map builder yourself, mate, you're looking at it with a lot more of a critical eye. So if you're saying it's a good map, then people who haven't tried out Deer Isle yet, you need to go and have a look at it.
I haven't played Deer Isle in a while, but last time I played, it was any opportunity to explore something different's good. But Deer Isle does, weirdly, it hits a little bit different. It's a really, really good map.
I'll be honest, I've only been on it once, and the server I joined just had massive lag issues that it just kind of turned me off. So I probably need to pull my finger out and go check it out as well. There's a couple of maps out there now. What was the other one that we were talking about a few weeks back, Brim?
Oh, there's loads. You've got Deer Isle, you've got Chimsea, Essica's coming out. If anyone wants to go on the DayZ standalone launcher
Valning.
and just go on Valning, that's a
Valning, that's the one.
Just on the left-hand side on the DayZ standalone launcher, there's actually a drop-down menu to choose what map you want to go on, and the list is getting more and more extensive by the day.
Oh yeah, the Stalker map as well.
Sort of related to this mod spotlight and this quick line of questioning. Adam, have you seen much of? I'm hoping the answer is yes. Clement's editor tool.
Yes.
That he's making.
The editor?
Yeah, the DayZ editor.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, a couple
Cool.
of questions. Yeah, so I was going to say one. What have you got at BI that's similar to that, or did you have to like literally place every tree manually yourself?
No, the trees on our maps were generated.
Oh, okay, right.
So but like, like we do the environment used for editing the maps, it's done somewhat outside of the game.
Okay.
So what you see in there is like the work that Inclement is basically doing could like make things easier for a lot of map makers if they are used to edit or like make the map in full 3D. The editor will help them a lot, and they will be able to export it into the tools and so on. So yeah, that's definitely excited to see the progress in there, because that could help the map makers a lot down the line.
Yeah, I just love the paintbrush that does the trees.
I love his loot location place and mechanic in it.
Oh
way-
yeah, that's
the way
going
it
to be a
shows
godsend. That.
Yeah, that was amazing. So to be able to enable you to custom place loot locations to the spawns, and that was just next level for me. That was the thing that blew my mind. It was like maybe even I could try my hand at that and then break my server again, like I've done half a dozen times already.
Yeah, I must admit that feature alone. As soon as that it's readily available to use, I'll be getting so many new assets to put in the map.
Yeah.
Can't wait for
that. Guest host spotlight of the week. I'm going to do a shout out to Chris FPS, who just hit affiliate. Congratulations, buddy.
Okay.
He was grinding it, and he finally hit the affiliate status. Thank you at that guy Sil for the necessary Twitch donation. Super generous. Also, thank you at DayZ at Daydream Z UK for the raid after becoming affiliated, finishing and starting new thumbnail work tomorrow, and considering Twitch emotes for peeps. The DayZ community is awesome. So this is a link to Chris's Twitch channel. Please head on over, show him some love. He's a great guy, isn't he, Ben?
He is, yeah. Also, I've seen this week that he very kindly offered to do some thumbnail work for people completely because he's learning how to do. I mean, have you seen his new artwork? It's amazing.
Yeah,
he's gone from not doing thumbnails at all to creating his own ones in a couple of weeks, and he's doing really well with it. And he's offered to do some for a few people in the community as well, I think, which is a nice thing.
Very, very nice thing. What about yourself,
Yeah.
Adam? What stood out for you in the last week, DayZ wise?
DayZ 109.
Mate, it
That was
was
an easy
great.
one for him, isn't it?
Yeah, but like we talked about it the other week. It was so good to see the first new asset added to the game, the Deagle. Everything we've had so far, and again, the critics being the critics have said, yeah, this is just shit we had in 0.62. When are they going to give us something new? We finally got something new, and you didn't hear many people talking about that, did you, Ben?
No, not really. No.
Actually, not for the first time though. We've added the Saiga.
And Crave just said that in
Mhm.
chat as well. Aren't I a douche? Aren't I a douche? You should have pulled me up on that one, Brim, or did you know and you just left me hanging on that one?
I'd like to take some sort of credit, but no, I didn't realise either, to be honest. My brain doesn't work very well.
No, the Sega when it got released before, but I saw someone tweet it out. I can't remember who it was. Their predictions for 1.10. And Adam, you don't have to say a single thing here, but I remember they said the V3S, the org. Does anyone else remember that tweet?
Yeah. I've seen the one that mentioned the org and that.
There was 4 things. I can't remember what the other 2 were. Oh. No.
Is it not one of them? Not Broken Bones, no.
Broken Bones, yes, Broken Bones.
Yeah.
Broken Legs, Org, V3S, the one is saying. So there, yeah, it was 3 things, not 4. Foxypote. It might have been Foxypote, yeah. I hadn't forgotten about the Org Gobbo. It's one of my favourite rifles. There we go. We've got the tweet here. Mark's just found it. Broken Bones, V3S, new variants on other buildings, and slight chance of that Org making a return. So we'll have to have a bet with him or something, I think, Adam, as to how many of those he gets right when you release 1.10.
And just to confirm, I'll share any winnings with you for any bets placed.
Broom, what about yourself, mate? Any highlights in the last week?
Yes. If you give me 2 seconds while I figure out how this laptop works, so I can post something in your chat, because there was a video I wanted to post. There we go. I think it should have posted there. So Shroud once again uploading a DayZ video, and it's had over 160,000 views. You know, just getting more of them good fresh eyes on the product.
Finding a helicopter in DayZ.
Oh yeah.
He's got some next level intro stuff, doesn't he?
He bloody wants to, for how popular and famous and what have you he is.
Mm-hmm. Look, when you make Mixer exit contract money, you can afford to do that sort of stuff, can't you, Ben?
Well, I guess so. Well, they've done us a favour. At least he gets to play DayZ now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mixer.
I did notice that that Ninja's now re-signed with Twitch again.
Yes, I saw that. Devin Nash did a video on it. And thank you for just reminding me. There was one final thing I wanted to discuss with people. But he was surprised that Ninja came to Twitch because he was actually on the decline with his numbers before before he signed with Mixer, and he does fantastic on YouTube. So they were a bit surprised that he's coming back to Twitch, where he's going to be competing against the other big boys and that. Whereas he would have been almost the king of YouTube.
To be fair, I think it's at the point even before the whole Mixer deal. Ninja's one of those guys that was making so much bloody money.
Yeah.
He could literally drop off the face of the earth tomorrow.
Oh yeah, he's fine.
And never have to worry. So,
Mhm.
but I was quite surprised he came back to Twitch, considering, like you say, the whole fallout from him leaving Twitch, and then that that not safe for work 18+ content that was that was showing up on his Twitch channel after he had left and signed with
Yeah.
Mixer. I'm quite surprised that he came back.
Dr.
Now-
Disrespect seems to be doing all right on YouTube, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. Oh,
Not affected him.
No.
Free agent as well, I think. I don't think he's actually signed an exclusive deal. So in theory, he could, he could drop that tomorrow and go somewhere else if he wanted to.
Yeah, I just
That was
nowhere
the-
else really to go. D Live and a couple of others that I've never heard of.
Yeah,
I imagine. but-
Facebook Gaming, I think, but that's about
That was
it.
the thing that surprised me about Ninja was I would have thought after all the dole they've earned and like him and Shroud having that contract freedom now, why he's gone and signed straight into another contract. I mean, fuck me, you can't need the money. So
I don't understand people going to Facebook gaming. You speak to most people and they talk about Facebook as it's a place where boomers hang out. The majority of boomers aren't really that interested in gaming. I don't understand Facebook gaming.
It's not doing too bad. I mean, there's a couple of there's a streamer called Stone Mountain 64, and he streams over there now. He was on Twitch. I think he was an affiliate. I don't know if he ever hit partner on Twitch, but he moved over to Facebook Gaming, and he seems to be doing really well on it. He's got like 2 different YouTube channels that he puts out at least 1 video per day on both. He's just grinding it out and doing well. Not long, his missus not long had a baby, so he can't be doing too badly over there.
I think he's one of few people that have gone big on Facebook gaming, though.
Yeah, I think he's probably an outlier.
There's not many of his level on there.
Now, I did want to touch on a point. I tweeted something out this week, and it's back to being DayZ related. I received a message on Twitter from an agency asking me to send them a message.
I saw that.
Yes. And I was initially kind of like most people, was like, oh, wonder what this is about. Oh, they're an agency. Wow. Am I doing something right? And then my spidey senses started tingling, and I was like, I'm still a fucking nobody. Why are they sending me a message? Let me dig in deeper. And I checked their tweets page, because when you go to Twitter, and fuck it, I'm going to bring it up. We'll go here.
Considering how much, I know exactly what you're about to show, and considering how many different people they tagged on Twitter, and the fact that I didn't get tagged, kind of put my nose out of joint a little bit. Not gonna lie.
But you can see
I
here.
feel like I'm just not important enough. I go on holiday for.
Yeah. They've got a bunch
Maybe
of tweets.
we're just too big for him, mate. Don't let it put you down. We're just too big of him.
But then you click on the tweets and replies and wait till I get to the area. Bang. Can you shoot us a DM? Can you shoot us a message? Can you send us a DM? Can you send us a message? Can you send us a message? Can you send us a message? Can you? And it just went on and on, and then more. And I was
It
like,
just
what
looks so
the?
unprofessional.
Look, I can, yeah. Well, I can't defend it. I can't defend it. It was just, it struck me, and thankfully, there's a YouTube channel that I've been sub to called Devon Nash, and he basically put a couple of videos out how agencies will scam you and rip you off, and how agencies will make you millions, make you rich. But at the size that I am, no one serious, no one professional is paying attention to a channel of my size. Or the majority of the people, no offense to anyone in that list of people they messaged. This to me smacks of someone just looking for a way to make themselves a few extra thousand each month by signing bright-eyed and bushy-tailed streamers into contracts who are affiliated, where they take the lion's share of your revenue and take it. So please check my YouTube channel. There's a video there, 3 minutes. It links to the channel Devon Nash, which has the videos that you need to watch if you're a content creator, or if you know a content creator, because overwhelmingly the feedback I had from people on that video was, thank you so much for bringing this to our attention. Because, I didn't see anyone else. I shared it with a few people. I'm kind of sad that I didn't get responses from a couple of people I shared it with, some big names out there. I won't say who lead stream teams. But I hope to God they did pass it on. And I hope to God that the people in those stream teams saw my message, because the last thing I want is people who I value as friends and that in this community getting fucked over by a greedy stream team. I could be wrong. They could be fantastic, but it scared me, because there's so many eyes on DayZ right now, and not all those eyes are going to be people with good intentions, which worries me.
Yeah, I mean, I think that their sort of whole thing where, like you say, you're showing them messaging everyone, or tagging them on Twitter, it just raises a big red flag for me. I think maybe I'm just a little bit old school with it, and a bit old fashioned. But I think if you're trying to start up any sort of business relationship with a person or an organization, mass DMing people, mass mentioning people on Twitter is possibly the least, the absolute worst way of going about it. If I wanted to enter into any sort of business relationship, it's a DM, it's an email, and it's very formal, dear sir or madam, yours sincerely, all that sort of thing. It's not this, hey, fancy shooting us a DM on Twitter. That just rubs me the wrong way.
And sorry?
I was just going to say, I feel like with Shroud coming back and Summit, they're probably thinking that they can prey on a load of people who have got illusions of becoming the next Shroud. Yes. And if they get a message from something that looks like a proper sponsor or whatever, or an organization, that they're just going to dive all over it. Mm-hmm. So they're probably just trying to prey on those people.
Yeah. And someone said in chat there, it's kind of common sense, but some people can be fooled. If you haven't watched them, Marks, watch those videos by Devon Nash. He spells it out there. These people are basically, they're skilled marketers, they're skilled salespeople. They know the things to say that people want to hear, that people who don't understand the legal gobbledygook will be. Yeah, next stream will be sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. But yeah, they know how to prey on people. Adam, are you there?
Yes, I am.
I have one last question for you.
Shoot.
Horses. No. No.
What answer do you expect?
I just saw someone mention it in chat. I had to ask because I know that Brian said some time back that even the boss of Bohemia Interactive was keen on the idea of horses and dogs in the game, but sadly, and I think that was even whilst Brian was still at the helm, that got put to the sideline as a maybe if we win Lotto sort of dream. But yeah. Yeah. And you should tag that question at the DayZ Twitch account, Marks. When will the DayZ Twitter follow you? But yeah. Adam, can I just say thank you so much, mate? I know this has been a long 3 hours, and we tried to skirt around the topics that we couldn't really. Oh, Helkiana, Boydie, wasn't you going to ask Sumrak about the community spotlight DayZ Twitter does sometime? I thought we did ask a question about the community spotlight earlier, and Adam said that was going to be down to when they get the new community marketing manager on board. Is there any update on that? Have you got someone identified, Adam, or you can't talk about that?
We're working on that.
Awesome. I'm very excited for it.
We miss Jakub.
We do. Jakub was a stroke of brilliance for DayZ. He just really reinvigorated the community, Adam, didn't he, Ben?
Yeah. He put a spark of that personal touch into it, what we were talking about earlier.
But it doesn't always need to be like that. Just the way you are yourself, Adam, on Twitter is fantastic. I know you can't reply to everything, but when you do reply, you give good answers to people, and that is what we were missing there for so long. And we really appreciate it, mate.
I try my best. There's a lot of stuff coming my way.
Yeah. One last question, and if I don't ask this, we will get lynched. Namalsk when?
This year.
Yay! There you have it. Confirmed this year. Weeks, not months?
No. I'm not going to use this meme.
Oh, that meme is never going to die. That meme is never going to die, Adam.
I used it once. Nope. Not anymore.
Sounds to me like Namalsk confirmed for the 1.10 update.
You heard it first. Adam confirmed it. He didn't deny it. That's a confirmation. Days, not weeks, maybe. Chat just went a little bit crazy over that, Adam. So you gave us our scoop, mate. You gave us our scoop. The clips are already on Twitter right now. The mouse confirmed for December 25th. That'd be an awesome Christmas present, actually, mate. Wake up Christmas morning, Namalsk has dropped.
Yeah, I can't wait for that time, to be honest.
I can't wait as well, mate. The little bit you've shown with the sneak peeks you gave myself and Septic Falcon, it just looks absolutely amazing. And like I mentioned, I never got to play it. So I've even pretty much avoided even really looking at maps of it because I just, like you were talking earlier, that feeling of those first, 1,000 hours or so of DayZ, where you're still learning everything and you're still getting lost. That was the thing I loved the most about Livonia. I didn't know Livonia. I hadn't played the Contact DLC. So I just got to be lost on the map everywhere. And Spicy Tuner saying in chat, will Namalsk be PC only? If it's released as a mod, that's my understanding is how it works, Adam? Yes. So what you need to do there is we need to start a petition to get Bohemia Interactive to buy Namalsk from Adam and make him a gazillionaire and release Namalsk as official DLC so it comes on all platforms.
And then DayZ explodes again even more. Adam becomes rich and we all live a happy ever after.
I've got the money in my account waiting to pay you for that map.
Yeah.
Because Adam, I don't know how much you realise it, mate, but Namalsk is going to be another one of those big milestones for DayZ as well. There are so many people who are looking forward to it. Like I said, I never played it, but the amount of times, like I still get comments on the Namalsk sneak peek video I did, mate, of people asking, is there any update on this? This video's nearly 2 years old or whatever. And I just refer them. I usually post a link to your Namalsk Survivor website and say all the information's here, guys. It'll be ready when it's ready, but it's going to be huge.
Yeah, no pressure.
Adam, thank you so much for coming on the podcast tonight, mate. It's been a long time coming, but you've been absolutely fantastic. And whoever was handling the DayZ Twitch account tonight, thank you so much as well. We really love what you guys are doing with the game, don't we, Brim?
Definitely, yeah. It's a phenomenal community to be a part of, and there's just so many so many great things going on. It's it's generally can't help but be excited for for what the future brings, whether it be new updates or just logging on the very next day. It's definitely good.
Yep, was fun. Thanks for having me. And in the chat, it was Scotty.
It was
behind the
Scotty.
DayZ account. Yep.
Hey, Scotty, how you doing,
Hey.
mate? Oh, yeah, he just said there, Scotty. And, I missed it. GG Scotty. Everyone was typing GG Scotty and cheers Scotty. And I was like, I didn't see your name Scotty in chat. I'm a boomer. But no, thank you so much. Now it is time to do our giveaways, Ben. So maybe I do mine first and then you do yours after I send everyone over to you afterwards. So people get a second dip.
That works for me, mate. Yeah, gives me a chance to get it organised as well.
Excellent, excellent. Adam, Brim, thank you so much for being here, gentlemen.
Pleasure as always.
Thanks for having me.
All the best, everyone. And ciao for
Yep.
now.
Take it easy.
All the best, guys.
Bye.
Bye.